State and Georgia Tech already this season. A dynamic offense led by their running back, Matt Breida.
I'll tell you what, it's one of the more unique offenses I've seen all year. A triple option zone read hybrid, and that guy really makes it fly. Fast, runs hard between the tackles, but the thing I like, only 1 negative yard on the season. He's always churning forward, always gaining positive yards for this offense.
Meantime, South Alabama 1-1, coming off one of the biggest games in program history. Home sellout here last Saturday, lost to Mississippi State 35-3. Their offense is led by their quarterback, Brandon Bridge. They got a lot of weapons, but probably ought to be getting more out of them.
Well, talent all over the place on that side of the ball, and none more than that guy right there, Brandon Bridge. 6'5", all the athletic ability, can make all the throws, but frustrating at times because there's just sometimes a consistency is the issue. This is his third game. I expected him to be even better here tonight.
And he took a beating last week, sacked 6 times by Mississippi State. Now the third member of our team is Danielle Percival, and she's down on the sideline.
Well, guys, a key matchup to look for tonight will be 2 reigning Sun Belt Conference Players of the Week. For Georgia Southern, it is the quarterback Kevin Ellison, who was co-Offensive Player of the Week, while for South Alabama, it was linebacker Malik Harris, who earned Defensive Player of the Week honors. Now, both of those players had stellar performances last week, so it'll be interesting to see who gets the better of this head-to-head matchup tonight. Matt?
Ellison and Harris, that should be fun. South Alabama and Georgia Southern meeting for the first time ever. Opening kick is coming up next. The Sun Belt Conference Game of the Week is brought to you by Golden Flake, the South's original potato chip and the official potato chip of the Sun Belt Conference. Under Armour. Visit UA.com today to see Under Armour's full range of performance gear. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit Geico.com for a free rate quote. And First Bank and Trust. Kick off the Sun Belt Conference season. Head coach Willie Fritz in his first season as the Georgia Southern Eagles head coach after a great run at Sam Houston State. 177 victories as a head coach in 22 seasons. And Joey Jones, the former Alabama star wide receiver, in his 6th season as the Jaguars head coach, back in his hometown, grew up in Mobile, played at Murphy High School. 32-22 as the only coach in South Alabama history. Terrence Timmons standing deep, along with T.J. Glover. Ball goes to the end zone, so South Alabama will start at the 25-yard line. First chance to see Brandon Bridge, the 6'5", 235-pound senior by way of Ontario, Canada, and a transfer from Alcorn State.
And how about this offense, Matt? We talked about frustrating last week. I know they were taking on Mississippi State, an SEC team, but 4 turnovers, 9 to drop passes, and they were 3 for 9 on third down in the first half. So the athletes are there. I think the scheme is there. Now they just got to execute.
Could have had 21 points in that first half
right.
And came away with 3. Bridge jumps it off to Jay Jones. Jones has the first down and more as Jones picks up about 14 on the opening play from scrimmage.
And I'll tell you what, I love that call right there, Matt. I always love when offensive coordinators get easy completions to their quarterback early in the game. I talked about how talented of a guy Brandon Bridge is. I think if he gets in the flow of this game early, he can have a big, big night.
Handoff goes to Jay Jones. He tries the left side. And Jones gets stood up and dropped by the Will linebacker Antoine Williams at the 44-yard line after a pickup of about 5 on the play.
We see the run right there. That's one thing the offensive coordinator for the Jaguars, Robert Matthews, talked about is they want to establish the run here today.
Second down and 5, ball at the 44-yard line. Bridge back to pass, contact at the 50-yard line. Chavarez Smith, the intended target. Baldwin Cooper, the corner, on the coverage, but no flag.
The crowd here wants a flag. I think that was some incidental contact. Didn't look like there was too much extracurricular going on there as that play was developing.
So 3rd down and 5 now from the 44-yard line.
Let's try to see on the replay. You know, that's incidental contact. Their legs got wrapped up a little bit. And now a big 3rd down here for the Jaguars to open the game.
Bridge hums it downfield and incomplete. Chavarez Smith again the intended target, and once again Cooper on the coverage, and it's 4th down in a likely punting situation for the Jaguars.
We talked about Baldwin Cooper, the cornerback for Georgia Southern. He's back this week. Missed some time because of some injury, but he's their best cover cornerback, and they're sure happy to have him back versus, again, as we talked about, all these weapons that South Alabama has on the perimeter.
Deion Stanley standing deep for the Eagles, and Brandon McKee on the punt for South Alabama, averaging 41 yards per kick, had 6 inside the 20 already this season, 4 last week against Mississippi State. Another one inside the 20 right there as it kicks out of bounds at the 15-yard line, and that's where the Georgia Southern Eagles will start on offense for the first time tonight. Our first chance to see Kevin Ellison, the Coast Sun Belt Conference Offensive Player of the Week. But we will also see Fabian Upshaw. They do run a 2-quarterback system, although Ellison is the number 1.
I'll tell you what, Matt, no matter who's at quarterback, this South Alabama team better be ready, because I know they practice the triple option all week in practice, but I've seen it time and time again. When it's real live on the field, it happens so much quicker in the game. They cannot get behind early and be shell-shocked by this offense.
Jeff Ward, the H-back, in motion. Breida gets the first handoff. And Breida up to about the 22-yard line. Tackle made by Terrell Brigham, the free safety. And a nice game by Breida. Breida coming off a 111-yard performance against Georgia Tech last week. A career high, his first 100-yard rushing game.
The thing with Breida, Will Fritz talked about, he didn't play much last year, was injured during the spring, and came into camp, didn't really expect much out of him, and he really took control. He's become a feature back in this offense.
Breida again, and Breida up to the 27-yard line, and a first down for Breida on the run, cut down by Theo Rich, the Jack defensive end.
One thing folks at home are going to see here tonight is that the blocking scheme of this offense of Georgia Southern, unlike typical triple option offenses where it's a lot of man-to-man, a lot of veer, a lot of cut blocks, there's more of a zone blocking scheme where they're just going to zone one way to the side and allow a back like Breida to search for that daylight patiently and then get vertical quick.
1st and 10 from the 27. Zach Walker in motion. Breida gets the handoff again right in the middle of the field, and Breida, strong run. Brigham again with the tackle, but Breida again close to a first down. Steady dose of Matt Breida to start this game.
He's already been a feature. And you see, one thing about option teams, no matter what their overall scheme is, you got to stop the dive first. You get absolutely killed if you cannot stop the dive up the middle before the rest of that option gets going here. So important to get that guy down and force them to pitch the ball or force the quarterback to keep it.
Breida takes a blow on the sideline. And L.A. Ramsby, a young man that you've seen a lot of in the Cincinnati area, checks in at tailback. And he gets the handoff. And Ramsby runs right into the middle, and nothing doing that time for Georgia Southern.
And L.A. Ramsby's another guy. They didn't know if they had any running backs coming into camp this year. Ramsby was a quarterback in high school. He missed some time last year because of a knee injury, and they said, well, we got a couple quarterbacks that are very capable, but we got to get Ramsby on the field. He is their home run threat, as Will Fritz said, and I'm telling you what, he gets the ball in his hands and gets some space, he can really fly.
108 yards rushing so far for Ramsby this season on 28 carries. Pitch to the 45-yard line. Devin Scott on the run. And Scott picks up about 7 on the play. And this spread option offense for Georgia Southern working very efficiently and quite well here on their first possession.
Well, you can see as I talked about the speed of this attack. You practice it all week. You have your scout team doing it. But it never looks as fast or coming at you quite as quick as it does in the game. That's why it's so important for all these athletes on South Alabama's team to be patient, but attack this thing and stop it before it gets started.
Keeper by Ellison. He gets stonewalled at the line of scrimmage. And the Jaguars have come up with a defensive stop at the 45.
in all my years of being around and playing against triple option attacks, the thing you got to do, you got to have is penetration. As you saw right there, the penetration by that South Alabama defense, really just getting that play, stopping it, and causing some chaos in the backfield before it gets going. That's such a key to stopping triple option attacks.
TJ Glover standing deep for the Jaguars, and Ryan Nowicki, the junior punter, lets it fly. Glover lets it sail over his head, hit it to 5, kick into the end zone, and the ball will come out to the 20. Couple of possessions, one for each team. We played 4.5 minutes in Mobile. There is no score here on the Sun Belt Conference Game of the Week. Just underway in Mobile, Alabama, in the Sun Belt Conference Game of the Week. Georgia Southern and South Alabama scoreless after a couple of possessions. And, Rocky, what did you think about Georgia Southern and South Alabama on their initial offensive possessions?
Well, I tell you what, you saw for South Alabama, they were trying to get those outside receivers, some of those weapons we talked about going, establish a little bit of run. You could see they were trying to get the ball to Shavarez Smith and Jeremy Jones and those guys. I think that's where there's a real mismatch for South Alabama. I think if you're looking for a weakness on this Georgia Southern defense, it is their secondary. They've given up 8 touchdown passes in just 3 games. Very stout up front, but I think there's a little bit of hay to make for South Alabama with Georgia's secondary.
Bridge on the keeper. Bridge crashes out to about the 29-yard line.
And boy, he is a big kid, isn't he, Matt? We saw him on the field. He looks like Cam Newton. He's 6'5", 240 pounds, a heck of an athlete. And as you talked about, played high school football in Canada, and talked about how the field being wider, 65 yards wide instead of 53, where you really need a strong arm, and boy, he has it.
2nd down and 1. Jay Jones the carry, and Jones gets a first down at the 31-yard line. Big vacancy on that defensive front for Georgia Southern tonight. Jonathan Battle, who had such a super game against Georgia Tech last week, not in the lineup tonight. Injured his ankle late in that ball game against the Yellow Jackets, and he will not play tonight. Ajike, you see him right there, number 91, Justice Ajike, taking his spot in the starting lineup. 1st and 10 for the Jaguars. Bridge winding up, and now he's going to run. Got a chance at a first down and slides for it and gets it at the 45.
And that was a great decision right there by Bridge. Sometimes he's been given a little bit of criticism in the past for being too quick to run with the ball, but that was a good decision. Good coverage on the back end by Georgia Southern. The field just opens up wide and picks up the easy yards, picks up the first down.
1st and 10. Toss goes to Glover. Glover picks up about 4 or 5 on the play.
South Alabama, they'll give you a lot of looks here. You'll see tonight, too. You'll see a diamond backfield set. You'll see gun offset. You'll see 4 wides. You'll see 5 wides. They just want to find ways to get their athletic guys in space.
South Alabama, number 8 in the Sun Belt in rushing, number 7 in passing, 10th in total offense, 99th in the nation, and averaging only 13 points per game. That number dragged down by the fact they put only a field goal on the board against Mississippi State last week. Bridge, heavy rush, and he's going to be sacked back at the 41-yard line by Jay Ellison, the sophomore nose tackle.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ellison had a coming-out party last week, man. He's picking up right where he left off here tonight. Just a big, strong guy. You see him shedding the block and then the speed to get to Brandon Bridge. I'll tell you what, for a big fellow the way he is, 305, 310 pounds, very good footwork inside and also very good hands. As I said, you saw right there shedding the block and getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, Willie Fritz told us he's a very agile 305. Played some running back in high school at Harris County High School in Georgia. That is the 7th team sack of the season for the Eagles.
I would like to see that running back running at you, Matt.
No, thank you. 3rd down, firing downfield, and that is a nice catch at the 42-yard line. A first down by Claude Garrett, who had the big drop on the bomb last week against Mississippi State that would have given him the big lead. Catches the first ball, comes his way tonight.
And that was a good job here because that ball was tipped, you'll see right there, by number 7, Matt Dobson. But credit Claude Garrett for great concentration coming with that ball. How about Brandon Bridge? He just flicks that ball, Matt, and it goes humming.
Jay Jones coming this way, and Jones gets cut down at the 38-yard line. Nice open field tackle by the strong safety, Robert Bryce. Still a pickup of about 4 on the play, as the Jaguars have driven into Georgia Southern territory at the 37-yard line.
We see that 5 wide look.
blitz coming. Bridge hums it to the 31-yard line, and that ball is going to be ruled a catch at the 31. Jeremy Jones, the all-time leading receiver in South Alabama history, making that grab.
And that was a good job. Last week versus 5, when they had 5 wides on the field, I thought that Brandon Bridge held on the ball too long. You go with 5 wides, that ball's got to come out quick. He did a great job there. His back foot hit, and the ball was out in under 2 seconds.
Apparently, they're going to rule it incomplete.
See, one thing we got to talk about, the left tackle for South Alabama, Ucambray Williams, is in. This is really makes their best offensive line look we've seen so far this year. It also moves Melvin Meggs back to his more natural position of right guard.
Yeah, they've got 2 first-team All-Sun Belt tackles in Ucambray Williams and Chris May. And a timeout's going to be called by South Alabama as they're trying to get together on a 3rd down and 6 from the 37. They're going to review that play on this catch or non-catch right here.
See if we can get a look at it here. It's hard to tell from that angle. Looked like he had it, but as he goes down, see if this angle is any better.
Remember, the ruling on the field was incomplete. It looks like the ball was out. I think the ball did hit the ground. You see him bobbling it right there.
Yeah, it's one of those instances, I think, Matt, where whatever the on-the-field call is, unless they got a different camera angle, they need indisputable evidence that it was different.
Don't get Georgia Southern fans
yeah,
started.
Right.
They had the controversial fumble call against Georgia Tech last week on a play that was initially ruled a forward pass on a lateral, or what appeared to be a lateral. So they are going to uphold it. The call on the field incomplete. So it'll be 3rd down and 6. But back to that Georgia Tech play, initially ruled an incomplete pass on the field, overturned by the booth and called a fumble, turned into the game-winning touchdown drive for Georgia Tech.
And that was a bad call because, as I just talked about, it's got to be indisputable evidence. It's got to just jump off the screen that was a forward pass, and it wasn't. Technically, by the rule book, it was a lateral, which means it was a fumble, but, again, it was ruled on the field a forward pass to begin with, and it should have stuck that way.
3rd down and 6. Ball at the 37. Bridge will take it right up the middle, and he will pick up the 1st down. Bowls his way inside the 30-yard line. And there you see the physicality of the very strongly built Brandon Bridge playing into his favor as he took on the linebacker and won the battle.
Again, you see that open up right there. And look at the lineman getting downfield, getting blocks on the 2nd level. That's key.
Jay Jones running in the middle. Again, Jay Ellison bringing him to the ground.
And I think, as we talked about, South Alabama really wants to establish the run. I think that's what their identity wants them to be. But I think so far they're not great at running the football. I know last week they were facing Mississippi State, and they were only 27 for 57 yards, 2.1 per carry. But versus Kent a week earlier, they had 50 attempts for only 186 yards. So they want to get that run game going. And I think with that new look offensive line they have tonight, their best personnel, I think they can really make it happen.
Had the same 5 offensive linemen for all 12 games last year. This is the 3rd different combination this year. Jay Jones on the run, and Jones trying to get to the outside will not be able to do it as Edwin Jackson, the Mike linebacker, finishes him off, and now it's going to be 3rd down and long.
Well, we talked about Malik Harris, South Alabama, Alabama's great linebacker, but they got a good one for Georgia Southern, number 40 there, Edwin Jackson, their leading tackler last season. A sideline guy. You also see number 37, Antoine Williams, who had 10 tackles last week. Again, nothing more than a former linebacker like myself seeing linebackers flying around out there, Matt.
Willie Fritz says the key will getting Williams and Jackson to play at a high level in the same game. Jackson's had 9 tackles in each of his first 2 games. In a preseason second-team All-Sun Belt Conference. Now on 3rd down, flags out, downfield, complete inside the 10-yard line. We'll see if it stands. Chavarez Smith with the catch at the 5-yard line, but a flag is out. Chuck Lewis is our referee. South Alabama is the least penalized team in the Sun Belt Conference, but a very costly penalty right there.
Yeah, that was on the right tackle, Chris May. Maybe he was too far off the line of scrimmage there, and that's why they call it. But before that, remember I talked about 3rd down being one of the biggest problems for South Alabama last week. We'll see if they can convert here on 3rd and 11.
Ball back at the 30 now. Heavy rush, Bridge in trouble. Another quarterback sack for the Georgia Southern Eagles. Quan Daniels, the defensive end, a jailbreak pass rush.
Watch
and Bridge.
number 40 just come out of your screen and into your screen like a heat-seeking missile. Really caused a disruption on that play. That was a great job of Georgia Southern's third down defense, and that could have been impossible field goal range, but now with the loss, looks like they're going to be forced to punt.
So just think about what happened to this drive. It obliterated quickly for South Alabama. They could have had it first and goal at the 5, but a penalty takes them out of it, and then a sack takes them out of field goal range. McKee drops it inside the 10, and it bounces into the end zone, so the ball will come out to the 20. Wow, South Alabama self-destructed right there on back-to-back plays to get no points out of that possession. Joey Jones not happy about that. Georgia Southern on offense when we get back with 4 minutes to play in the quarter. Willie Fritz and the Georgia Southern Eagles, opening game ever in Sun Belt Conference history. They are eligible to play or win the Sun Belt Conference Championship, but not eligible yet for a bowl game because of their FCS to FBS transition. Got one more year of that. But from the preseason rankings, South Alabama, the highest ranked team, they'll play in the Sun Belt Conference this season. Handoff, Breida out to the 32-yard line. First down, Breida running strong.
When Danielle talked about the matchup there with Breida and Ellison, but also the linebacking core needs to be really, really good tonight for South Alabama. Malik Harris needs to come up and have a big game. These triple option teams, it's a linebacker game. You know, Travis Pearson, the defensive coordinator, talked about this is no eye violations this week, Matt, meaning with all the minutia going on with this triple option, they got to be able to read their keys.
Running option here, and Ellison brought to the ground at the 36-yard line. Jerome McClain, the defensive tackle, getting him on the ground.
And Jerome McClain is an NFL-type guy. He already has his older brother, Terrell, was a third-round pick by Carolina in 2011, now plays with the Houston Texans, now with the Cowboys. But McClain, 6'3", 290 pounds, NFL in his future.
Leads defensive lineman on this team with 9 tackles, had 6 last week against Mississippi State. Going deep, and Kentrella Showers, the intended target, couldn't get to it. Going for the home run on third down, or second down and 6. Now it's third down and 6 coming up from the 36.
For those that aren't aware, this is really the first year the pass has been more a part of this Georgia Southern offense. But again, still a run team, but when they do pass, they are good at 27 to 44, 61%, and 4 touchdowns on the season.
Their 20.63 yards per completion is number 1 in FBS. But coming into the game, they only had 27 completions in 44 attempts.
And here's what's so important now that they can pass is now with a 3rd and 6, they have the ability to pick this thing up.
Johnson the catch, and Johnson will not get to the sticks. Ran into his own man, Zach Walker, who was out there trying to block for him. Kudarius Ford, preseason second-team All-Sun Belt, knocked him out of bounds, and it's 4th down. Nice job by Kudarius Ford.
Well, I talked about the linebackers need to have big games, but also, Matt, the cornerbacks, Kudarius Ford, Montel Gardner, got to be great at pressuring that pitch like that or those perimeter passes, and got to be very sure tacklers out in open space here tonight.
Yeah, DC Travis Pearson told us that Garner and Ford have really done a very good job of improving their tackling. They understand you don't got to knock them down, you just got to get them on the ground.
Yeah, you don't get more points for style, Matt. It still goes down as a tackle. Just get that guy to the ground.
Glover will wave it off. It bounces backwards on Georgia Southern, and they'll get their hands on it at about the 33, 34-yard line. And that is where South Alabama will begin their 3rd possession of the ball game, but after this timeout with 2:40 to play in the quarter. Alabama has 62 yards of offense in the first quarter, but it's Georgia Southern's defense that's come up with the big plays.
Hey, we talked about their offense, but their defense really setting the tone here today. Look, you see the gang tackling, that defense swarming, Edwin Jackson applying the pressure, and then Quan Daniels finishing him off. You know, we were down the field earlier, Matt. I think, South Alabama passes the eye test a little bit more, but, man, they got some great players on Georgia Southern as well, and you see them really shining on defense here so far tonight.
South Alabama back on offense, 1st and 10 from the 34. Bridge fakes the handoff, throws it complete. That's a first down. Nice catch and run right there. Wes Saxton, the tight end who had 6 catches a week ago against Mississippi State, is first here tonight.
And, Matt, that's the guy that I think needs to be a big part of this offense. Wes Saxton, he's an all Sun Belt Conference guy, future NFL guy. They got to get him involved because he's a physical mismatch.
Kendall Houston with his first carry of the ball game, and Houston gets it across midfield, a 5-yard pickup. Second time in 3 possessions the Jags have been on the other side of the 50.
See a little more tempo going by South Alabama. I like it, trying to get in the flow of this game.
Houston gets the rock again, and again he uses his body as a battering ram, picks up the first down, running through the tackle of Darius Sapp, the true freshman out of Valdosta, Georgia High School. They like him a lot. One of about 5 true freshmen starting, or not starting, but playing for Georgia Southern here.
Well, absolutely, and we talked about Battle being out. Jonathan Battle's out for this game. A big opportunity for Darius Sapp in this game tonight.
1st and 10 from the 40. Bridge given time this time and going deep, and it is caught but out of bounds. Trying to get the ball to the Alabama transfer, Marvin Shin, who's got great speed. He beat the defender but couldn't keep his feet in bounds.
They're trying to beat these guys deep, Matt. You can see it, but just out of bounds. You can see the left foot. But I like the game plan here. Challenging this defensive backfield for Georgia Southern. Talked about their wide receivers for South Alabama: Shavarius Smith, Marvin Shin, Jeremy Jones.
2nd down and 10. Scoreless first quarter. Jay Jones back in there, gets to the edge, and a first down for Jay Jones. Knocked out of bounds, but not until he picks up the first. Steve Williams, the Buck linebacker, came over there to get him out of bounds, but a first down for the Jaguars. Again, they're moving.
And you see Jay Jones, he's listed at 5'9", but I'm telling you, Matt, he's about 5'5", and you saw that run. He hides behind those offensive linemen so well, but then has the speed. Once he finds some space, he can get out and nail it.
And once again, a penalty here on South Alabama is going to push them back. Let's check in with Danielle Percival on the sideline.
Well, guys, so far it hasn't been that much of production for the offense for USA, but they do have Jay Jones, who has eclipsed 1,000 all-purpose yards, so not so much so far in this game, but still a big career mark for him.
Thanks, Danielle. Because Joey Jones said Jay Jones reminds him a lot of Darren Sproles. Bridge being chased by Quan Daniels, gets it downfield and in and out of the hands of his intended target. Smith, his intended target, I believe it was. No, Jeremy Jones, the intended target.
A lot of Jones on these teams, Matt. Jeremy Jones, Jay Jones, the coach, Joey Jones.
If you want to play here, and your name's Jones, you got a good shot at it. 3rd and 15. Ball at the 45.
Third and long here. You like to think some sort of a screen or something to that effect to get the ball in the hands of one of these guys and try to make a few guys miss and possibly pick up the first down.
Time in the pocket, downfield, in and out of the hands of Danny Woodson. That's a first down grab that he lets bounce off his hands. 4th down, punting situation again for South Alabama.
Matt, that was the problem last week. 9 drop balls. You look at the stats and you say, okay, they lost 35-3, but again, the turnovers and then the drop passes. You saw so many times they could have been right in that ball game, and here tonight we saw another big-time drop on 3rd down.
McKee standing at his 41 to kick. Butler calls fair catch, makes it at the 19-yard line. And that's where the Eagles will start their 3rd possession with 62 seconds to play in the quarter. And Rocky, South Alabama killing themselves tonight. They got a pass completed inside the 5-yard line. Penalty took that away, and then a sack took them out of field goal range right there. They had a first down around the 20. Again, a penalty takes them out of range, and they eventually have to punt.
Well, you're right.
Twice they've been deep and had to punt.
Well, you can see they're moving the ball. They got the guys to move the ball in this defense, but it's the critical situations. It's kind of been that same story all year, especially last week. 3rd down, red zone. Those big-time opportunities, Matt, they haven't been able to capitalize and have the consistency that they need.
Kevin Ellison back out there is the quarterback. He keeps it. Got Walker blocking for him, and Ellison on the ground at the 31-yard line. Nice run by Ellison and a first down. Antonio Carter making the tackle for the Jaguars.
As I said in the opening, Ellison's a very capable runner. He'll keep that ball 15 to 20 times here tonight. We saw him down the field before the game. Not the biggest guy in the world. He's 6 foot 190, but he's got big, thick legs, good wide hips, can absorb some shots, and he has the toughness to take some of those hits.
Number 6 in the Sun Belt in rushing. He's number 1 in passing efficiency. Breida on the carry. Breida up to the 36-yard line. Yeah, Willie Fritz, as you were talking about earlier, Rocky, said they had to discover their running backs. Because Breida did not practice much in spring, if at all, because of a shoulder injury. It wasn't until the first week of camp that they realized, wow, this guy can really
who's this
play.
Guy, right?
We've got a running back after all. Gets the rock again, runs into his own man, bounces off of it, watches breakaway speed. He pulls away. Foot race, and Matt Breida wins it for the touchdown. What incredible speed. Did you see him take off?
Wow. He hit the hole, was stopped up at the beginning, but then found a little bit of daylight, and then, Matt, he threw it into 6th gear, and we saw that 4.4 speed. Wow.
64-yard touchdown run by Matt Breida. He had a 69-yard touchdown run against Georgia Tech last Saturday. And it gets the Eagles on the board first here on the final play of the first quarter.
That's his 6th touchdown of the year, Matt. He finds the end zone. The mark of any good running back.
Alex Hanks with the PAT, and Georgia Southern on the last play of the first quarter strikes lightning. Matt Breida sprinting 64 yards for the touchdown, his Sun Belt Conference leading 6th touchdown of the season. He takes off, and the Eagles are flying. They lead at 7-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Action started for Georgia Southern. Take a look at this run. This play is stopped dead in his tracks right there. Then look, he has the vision to find the daylight. Then, Matt, are you kidding me? Running away from defensive backs as he gets to the end zone. Really explosive play by this offense. That man likes it right there, Will Fritz, Matt. I'll tell you what.
Glad they discovered Matt Breida the first week of camp.
And he said that's all coaching and finding that guy, right?
Let me tell you, he left Terrell Brigham and Qdarius Ford in the dust. I was shocked at how he pulled away from those guys.
Like I said, he dropped it into that 6th gear and had a little more steam behind him. Took it all the way to the house.
Glover comes over here to the corner and takes it at the 3. And Glover doesn't make it back to the 20-yard line. Nice open field tackle by Robert Bryce. So the Jaguars will start at their 20-yard line, and now they're down 7-0. And from a momentum standpoint, at least number of plays standpoint, seems like South Alabama has controlled the momentum. They've shot themselves in the foot, and Georgia Southern's come up with some big plays, and bam, just like that, Georgia Southern has the lead on the big play.
Here's what I think they need to do. They're trying too much down the field pass. I don't think they've shown so far this year that they can consistently do that. I say more the short passing game, 5 yards, 1 yard, little smoke routes out to the outside. Get the hands in the ball of those playmakers, make some guys miss, and get the momentum going a little bit. I think they're trying for that deeper ball a little too much too early.
Handoff to Houston, and Houston gets stopped in his tracks by the free safety Matt Dobson, who comes up and runs support, makes the play.
Great job by Matt Dobson. He's been making plays around here for a long time at that safety position, coming up strong in the run game.
What's interesting about it is Joey Jones told us that, they didn't think they'd be able to run the ball against Mississippi State, that they would have to throw the ball more, but he said now that we're getting into the Sun Belt, going to get back to our power running game, our zone running game, and they really haven't done that here tonight.
Well, they haven't. You've seen the flashes here and there, but again, with their best offensive line personnel, and also, as we talked about with John Battle out, this is an opportunity, I think, for them to establish that run.
Kendall Houston, there you go, right on cue, and Kendall Houston has the first down as he gets it out to the 41-yard line.
Kendall Houston, again, 230 pounds. He gets the shoulder square, runs downhill, running through tackles. I think he can have a big night tonight. He's especially when he gets into that secondary for Georgia Southern. He can punish some guys.
All-time leading rusher in South Alabama history. Remember, this is just the 6th year of the program, so there's a good chance if you're here, you could be the all-time leader at something. Trying to go back to the other side. I believe that was Marvin Shin, again, the intended target. He's their speedster. That's twice they tried to go his way. Once he caught it out of bounds, that one just beyond his fingertips.
And I'll say it again. I don't know why you're trying a 20-yard go route down the sideline right now. Just get the ball in the hands of Shavarez Smith and Marvin Shin and let them, again, get in the flow. Every wide receiver I've ever talked to said they want to get in the flow of the game, get some catches, get some momentum going. But right now, South Alabama's not giving them any opportunity to do that.
Ball at the 41, 2nd down and 10. Just underway, second quarter. Matt Stewart, Rocky Boyman, and Danielle Percival. And again, Jay Ellison, he is just a beast up there. He throws Jay Jones to the ground.
Like Vince Wilfork out there with that big body, the nimble big body. See again, he just shoves the center.
Joseph
right
Selfo,
right in the backfield.
Abused him and then abused Jay Jones. Had 8 tackles last week against Georgia Tech, and Willie Fritz says if this kid can play consistent, he'll be an all-conference player. I believe him. 3rd down and long, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9.
Bringing pressure.
Bridge running from the pressure. Throwing downfield and in and out of the hands of Smith. Man, they've had their hands on at least 3 different passes that go incomplete here tonight. Maybe 4.
Shavarez Smith in his career has been so sure-handed. Last week, though, had the 2 drops. We've seen a couple tonight. I thought Bridge could have made that a little bit easier on him on that play, but still, that's a ball that Shavarez Smith will tell you. He should catch that ball. Just, again, shooting themselves in the foot, Matt. You can have all the talent in the world, as you well know, but if you can't put drives together and make these plays, it's all for naught.
McKee punting again. Butler calls fair catch at the 15-yard line. Can't do that. Can't throw up the hand and then run with it. And so the ball is at the 15 after that fair catch. 7-0 Georgia Southern. 2 minutes into the second quarter. Back at Ladd-Peebles Stadium, Georgia Southern, the 7-0 lead on South Alabama. Danielle Percival down on the sideline. Tell us about these gloves that the Eagles wear.
Well, guys, in the honor of legendary coach Eric Russell, the Georgia Southern football team has really taken to the slogan, "Gotta," this year. Now, that means get after there. Well, you can probably fill in the blank, but it's really been something that they've stuck to this season. So let's take a look at these gloves real quick.
Wow,
pretty cool, I'll tell you what. What's that last A stand for, Danielle?
They're pretty sweet.
6 national championships in the Georgia Southern history. The program restarted by Eric Russell in 1981. Ellison on the handoff, not much on that first carry. 6 national championships, the first coming in 1985. The all-time winningest program in FCS history for teams that have played more than 50 games. 19 FCS playoffs. 45-13, their FCS playoff record.
And what a legend, Eric Russ. I remember he had the Junkyard Dogs when he was the DC at Georgia. Really he came up with those kind of fun, kind of cool names that the young kids liked back then. And what a great coach.
Ellison on the run picks up the first down at the 30-yard line, or close to it. Got to watch out for this Georgia Southern team. As you know, last week against Georgia Tech, they were down 35-10 at halftime. Couldn't get anything going in that second half. As Coach Willie Fritz said, they got the kinks worked out of that option offense, and man, they exploded for 28 points and took a 38-35 lead on Tech before losing on the Yellow Jackets' last possession. Ellison to the air, looking for Johnson, and Johnson caught it in and out of the hands of the defender. And that is a catch. Ford had it ricochet out of his hands, right into the hands of B.J. Johnson.
And what a missed opportunity for South Alabama. Great coverage by Quadarius Ford. We'll see on the replay, great coverage, has good phase with the wide receiver. The ball is in his hands, and it bounces to Johnson, their leading wide receiver from last year. And we talked about the drop passes by South Alabama's offense, and there's another. We saw it last week. They had 3 dropped interceptions, Matt. Got to make those plays.
1st and 10, ball at the 22. L.A. Ramsby on the carry right there. Breida getting a rest. He comes back in. Breida with 103 yards already tonight on that big 64-yard touchdown run, the centerpiece of his 100-yard game thus far. His second career 100-yard game coming in consecutive weeks. 2nd down and 6. Ball just inside that 20-yard line. Ellison has remained in there at quarterback. We haven't seen Fabian Upshaw yet. Running option. Breida gets the pitch. Inside the 15, inside the 10. Backpedaling inside the 5 and down to the 2.
I'll tell you what, this is where Georgia Southern's been so good, is in the red zone, Matt. They're 13-14 on the year, 9-14 with touchdowns. You see them run the triple option to perfection, good cuts, and that's the key too, Matt, for the triple option attack. You got to have good blocking by your receivers downfield. We saw Zach Walker with a great block on the perimeter, and Matt Breida's doing the rest.
Rocky, he got the last 2 yards with his back to the goal line.
Well, like I said in the open, he only has 1 negative yard on the season. He always keeps those legs churning. You watch him on film all week, always trying to get positive yards. That's so important for a running back.
Ball spotted at the 3. 1st and goal to go. Breida, the man that goes in motion. Ellison, keeper, and Ellison gets stood up at the 1-yard line and driven back. Terrell Brigham and Desmond Lavelle teaming up to make that tackle. But Ellison did get forward progress down to the 1. 2nd down and goal from the 1. Georgia Southern tried to take a 2-touchdown lead.
See if Georgia Southern just decides to keep the ball on the ground here. They have 2 wide receivers split, both Showers and Johnson. In man coverage.
Touchdown. Ramsby untouched into the end zone, and the Eagles have taken a stunning 13-0 lead on South Alabama here in Mobile.
And how about the 2-headed monster right now in the backfield with Ramsby and Breida? Nice job. See the jump cut right there he made? That's one thing you watch this kid all week on tape. He has a really good jump cut. As soon as those feet hit the ground, boom, he gets vertical so quick. Again, I remember covering this kid when he was in high school at Coleraine in Cincinnati. He was one of the fastest players I've ever seen on a football field. Again, used to play quarterback, but did the unselfish thing, Matt. They moved him to running back, wanted to get him involved, and he's really paying dividends.
Ramsby, with his 2nd career touchdown run, gives the Georgia Southern Eagles a 14-0 lead 5 minutes into the 2nd quarter. Back in Mobile, Georgia Southern with a stunning 14-0 lead on South Alabama. You know, we started the night, Rocky, me saying that South Alabama thinks they can win the championship. Guess what? Georgia Southern does too. Picked 8th out of the 11-team Sun Belt. Willie Fritz says when you get the job at Georgia Southern, as he did this past offseason, you don't get 5 years. You don't get 5 minutes. Expectations are high at the all-time winningest FCS program transitioning to FBS.
Well, you're right. This fan base is very rabid, very passionate fan base at Georgia Southern. And they said 8th, huh? Picking us to finish 8th? We'll see about that.
T.J. Glover trips where he might have gone the distance as he scrambles out across the 35-yard line. And a nice return by T.J. Glover. Jags were already number 2 in the Sun Belt Conference in kickoff returns. No doubt that'll help the average as he gets it out to the 39-yard line. Now we'll see, Rocky, what can South Alabama do to get some offense going here? Now they've gotten yards, but they've always, when they get inside the 30-yard line, have shot themselves in the foot, either giving up a sack or committing a penalty, or both.
Well, as I said, they need more higher percentage plays, and I think the guy they got to look at is Wes Saxon, the tight end. Get him out in space. He's a big target that Brandon Bridge can hit, get the ball in his hands. Again, more higher percentage plays to get some rhythm going.
Toss goes to Jay Jones. Jones not going to be able to get off that edge right there. Antonio Glover, the strong safety, brings him down. A pickup of about 3 on the play.
Been very impressed with the safeties for Georgia Southern tonight, both Matt Dobson and Antonio Glover on that play. Starting at 9-10 yards deep, and once they see run coming up in force, great job by them so far.
2nd down and 7. Run the exact same play again. Jones unable to get to the sticks, just shy of it. Shoved out of bounds out there by Deshante Gallen. And it's going to be 3rd down and 2. Deshaunte Gallen, the sophomore out of Madison, Florida. And 3rd down and short for the Jags, just shy of the 50. Jones didn't get there. And again, Antonio Glover in run support making the play. Big time play right there to stop him on 3rd and short. Turns it into a 4th down and another punting situation.
Just no emotion right now from this South Alabama offense.
Yeah, they're just getting whipped.
Yeah, again, you talked about Antonio Glover with a nice play. Coming up quick once he saw the run, making a play behind the line of scrimmage. And then Quan Daniels finishing him off.
McKee out there to punt again. Booming kick. Butler has it sailed over his head, but that thing goes way into the end zone. So while that's a booming kick, the net result is Eagles get the ball at the 20. And that's where we will be when we come back at Georgia Southern with a 2-touchdown lead in their Sun Belt Conference opener. South Alabama, you're watching the Sun Belt Conference Game of the Week on ESPN3. Matt Stewart, Rocky Boyman, and Danielle Percival with you at Ladd Peebles Stadium. Kevin Ellison. We talked about the national championship pedigree of Georgia Southern, but how about the national championship pedigree of their head coach, Willie Fritz? 2 national titles at Blinn Junior College, played for the national championship 2 consecutive years at Sam Houston State in 2011 and in 12.
Like I said, there's definitely a winning culture around this Georgia Southern program. Obviously with Will Fritz's history and then the history of that Georgia Southern's had going back many, many years. Like I said, this fan base expects to win. Even now that they've moved up a level into the FBS, they still expect them to win.
I thought it was interesting. Willie Fritz said, the move to the Sun Belt Conference is really probably something Georgia Southern should have done 20 years ago.
Yeah.
2nd down and 8 coming up here. Ransby gets the ball again. Back-to-back carries by Ransby. Rich James, the defensive end, making the tackle, but Ramsby downfield gets the ball to about the 28, brings up a 3rd down and 2.
We talk about Willie Fritz coming here, and he was just amazed at the amount of resources that they have at Georgia Southern. The facilities, just more the money. And look, that's what you kind of need to build the kind of facilities and things like that make kids want to come to your program. And he's really enjoyed it here so far.
3rd down and 2. Direct snap going to Ramsby, and he didn't get there. That's a big-time stop right there for South Alabama, and they desperately needed it.
Well, you're right. That's what South Alabama needed right now. They needed a negative play created on defense here to get this, not only this offense, but this crowd back in this football game. And this defense, the offense gets a lot of the acclaim here with all the weapons they have, but this defense has really been the most consistent part of this South Alabama team this year, coming up with a big 3rd down stop right there.
Jags force a much-needed 3 and out. Nowicki, end over end. Glover won't take it, and it kicks down the sideline. They'll spot it out at the 34-yard line, and that's where the Jags go back on offense. As we take a look at the Golden Flake Sun Belt standings. To this point, there's been only 2 conference games with New Mexico State and Louisiana Monroe on top. In fact, we will be in Monroe next week as they play host to Troy, Georgia Southern, and Idaho at the bottom of the conference. And South Alabama and Georgia Southern, of course, playing their conference opener tonight.
Well, as I said in the open, just so many teams in this conference, Matt, that can win this thing. Obviously, just now getting into conference play. But for South Alabama, they're one of those teams that I talked about could win this thing. But I'll tell you what, right now down 14-0, this offense needs to start making some plays.
Bridge fakes the handoff, throws to the other side, and Jeremy Jones can't get it.
And that's a ball that needs to be on the money from Brandon Bridge. Wide open wide receiver, got to hit him. Period.
Some interesting scores going on around the Sun Belt tonight. Georgia State was tied with Washington 14-14 in the second half. Texas State was leading Illinois late on the road. Could be a couple of big wins right there for the Sun Belt after the conference went a collective 0-10 last week.
Yeah, it wasn't a good week for them last week.
Bridge stands in there, fires. Claude Garrett. What's going on here, Rocky? This offense is just not in sync right now. And there, as you pointed out a few moments ago, seems to be no life, no juice on the offensive side of the ball.
Not at all. And right now, I think the offensive players are looking to their leader, Brandon Bridge, right now, saying, come on, man, give us some juice, get us back in this game, start making some plays. He just looks a little discombobulated right now, Matt. I got to be honest. You know, he's taken over this team. The job is his. Last year, he was looking over his shoulder a little bit. Ross Matheny was the quarterback, and every time he'd make a mistake, he'd look back and for Ross to come in. But now this is his team. He needs to start taking control of it.
Bridge going to take control and run it himself, and he's got a first down across the 50-yard line, and right on cue, Brandon Bridge making something happen with his legs.
Oh, Matt, I used the word frustrating at the open because of this. So many missed opportunities, but then, look, this kid can do this, breaking tackles in the open field. You see the speed. Man, you want a kid like that to have so much success because you know how much he wants it. You see the athletic ability, the rare ability. You just got to start putting it together.
Right up the middle on the carry by Kendall Houston. Houston gets about 3 yards on the play. Actually, that was that Houston or Xavier Johnson? I think.
Yeah.
Xavier Johnson, the freshman, redshirt freshman on that carry that time.
He's another back that they like here in this offense, a guy they can count on.
Second down. Xavier Johnson gets it again, breaks a tackle, and Johnson has a first down as he uses his body to lean forward and get down to the 32-yard line.
There we go. Now keep it going. Keep the. I like the up tempo. Get back up on the line of scrimmage. Get some rhythm going. Give me another higher percentage play here right now, either a run or a quick pass to the outside. Keep this drive going.
Ball at the 33, 1st and 10. We've seen this from South Alabama. There's the pump fake. Going back to the other side, and incomplete. Danny Woodson, the intended target. Would have been a tough catch, but again, South Alabama receivers get their hands on the ball, can't bring it in. That would have been a tough catch.
It would have been a tough catch, but like you said, you'd like to see some of these guys start coming down. It's either Brandon Bridge throwing a bad pass or a receiver dropping a ball. Like you said, somebody's got to make a play. Somebody step up here.
Second down and 10. Ball at the 33. Last week it was their inability to run the ball inside the red zone that killed them. This week it's been penalties and giving up sacks. Jay Jones runs inside the 30-yard line. Edwin Jackson again on that tackle for the Eagles.
And they're having some success, Matt, especially on this drive, running the ball inside, especially off that left side a little bit. Gaining some positive yards. Again, I don't like going for the home run every time. Just keep going, keep chipping away at this defense. Put some plays together.
3rd down and 5, just inside the 28. Bridge, heavy rush, gets rid of it. Nice play by Jones, but he had to leave his feet to get there, so they get no gain on the play.
Yeah, I mean, you make it easy on Jones right there. He easily catches it and makes a first down.
The field goal unit was ready to go on there, and they waved him back, and they said, no, we're going for it.
And I think this is a good call. First, you're kind of in that gray area between being a long kick, and right now, South Alabama needs a spark, Matt. Let's see if they can get it.
You need to make something happen if you're the Jags right now. 4th down and 4. Ball at the 28.
They got a nice one-on-one. Well, we're going to call it timeout.
So the Jags burn their first timeout of the first half. And here's South Alabama. Here in a nutshell is what's happened to the Jaguars and Joey Jones' team here in the first half. A bunch of mistakes.
Yeah, just missed opportunities. See right there, just the ball's a little bit out too wide, but a receiver's got to come down with the ball. And again, if it's not the quarterback making an errant throw, it's a wide receiver dropping the ball. And they just have too much talent out there, Matt. They're executing the scheme of the offense very well. But now somebody, come on, step up and make a play and get your team back in this ball game.
And you see the incompletions. That's just part of the story. They've had penalties twice when they got inside the 20-yard line, and they've also given up a couple of big quarterback sacks that have pushed them out of situations where they could have had points. Now they face a 4th down and 4 from the 28. Rocky, what play do you call here?
Well, I'll tell you what, I like rolling Brandon Bridge outside the pocket. And you give him a dual threat kind of an option. If there's a wide receiver open, he can hit him, or he can keep the ball and run. That's been one of their more successful plays tonight, is Brandon Bridge keeping it on the run.
Trips to the top.
There's also a nice one-on-one matchup down here at the bottom with Shavarez Smith.
They look to Smith's direction. They go to him. They've got the first down on the 20. He slips a tackle inside the 10. Jags in the end zone.
Well, Matt, I pointed out late, they got the matchup they wanted. Shavarez Smith on Darius Jones, the cornerback. And again, see what I've been talking about this whole game. Just get the ball in his hands. Don't try the home run threat, a tough throw down the sideline where Bridge has to really put it on the money. Just get it in Shavarez Smith's hands and let him do that. He has the ability to break tackles. Let him do it.
8th career touchdown catch for Shavarez Smith, and they missed the extra point. Aleem Sunanan misses the PAT, and it's 14-6.
Good, nice job. Just get the ball in the hands of Smith, and he can do this. Break tackles, and then he has the speed to get it all the way in the corner, coming right into your living room. Great job. Get the ball in his hands. He's a dangerous weapon. You can see there's a connection between Bridge and Shavarez Smith. There we go, a little motion, Matt, by Brandon Bridge. I like it. That's what this team needs.
Bridge, 2nd touchdown pass of the season. And Shavarez Smith out of McDonough, Georgia, by way of Dean, Massachusetts Community College. Number 4 all-time South Alabama history in receptions. Number 4 all-time South Alabama in receiving yards. Over 1,000 receiving yards in just 14 games. And we'll see if that touchdown play right there sparks South Alabama here late in the second quarter. They do get on the board. Missed the PAT. It's 14-6. Non-returnable. Ball will come out to the 25-yard line.
All right, watch the screen right here. Look at the concept. See, they bring all 3 wide receivers off to the left, and then the backside is where they get the one-on-one matchups. That's modern offense, Matt. The concept side to one side where a lot of route combinations, and then you give a great one-on-one matchup to one of your best wide receivers on the backside. Quarterback, boom, shoots the ball out to him and lets him do what he does.
So now Kevin Ellison brings the offense out with 3:52 to play in the first half. Eagles lead 8. Ward the H-back in motion behind the line. And Breida gets about 2 or 3 on the play.
We saw the fullback Jeff Ward in right there for Georgia Southern. Now, one guy was interested to see how this run game was going to look without their true H-back, Nardo Govan. He's done a great job this year at the fullback position. He went out last week, unfortunately, probably for the season with an ACL. Now Jeff Ward and James Dean will be at the fullback, trying to pick up and do as good a job as Govan's done this year.
That's B.J. Johnson, had a big catch earlier in this half. That's a first down catch right there for B.J. Johnson. That'll move the sticks for the Eagles. Going back to Nardo Govan, suffered a torn ACL late in that Georgia Tech game, fielding a squib kick. He actually made his first college catch in that game. Georgia Southern likely will appeal to the NCAA to try to get him a medical red shirt.
I'll tell you what, you look at a lot of those big runs that Georgia Southern had last week, it was Govan that was throwing the key blocks to spring both Breida, L.A. Ramsby, and also obviously Kevin Ellison.
So 1st and 10, ball is at the 36-yard line. Ellison, B.J. Johnson, that's
nice.
Incomplete. Nice play, you're right. Montel Garner jumped the route, and he almost had himself a pick, which would have been 6.
He was close. What a great break on the ball. Puts his foot in the ground. Excellent job. Reaches the right hand across.
Yeah, Garner had a career-high 6 tackles against Mississippi State last week, 9 on the season. Senior out of Dallas by way of Navarro, Texas, junior college. 2nd down and 10. Breida up to about the 42-43 yard line. Davin Hawkins, the linebacker, making the tackle for the Jaguars.
Tell you a guy, Matt, we talked about in the open that this Georgia Southern offense is using. That's the backup quarterback, Fabian Upshaw. I haven't seen him yet, and I don't know if we will with just under 3 minutes to go here in the half, but he's a nice changeup. Probably the fastest guy on their team, a home run threat as well. Also good at throwing the ball. Probably see him in the second half. Right now, looks like the rest of this half is going to be Kevin Ellison.
Looks a lot different from Kevin Ellison.
Yeah, he does.
Upshaw looks like a gazelle. He's just
thin legs.
Yeah, gangly arms and legs. He can really move, though. There's the option, Ellison. Ellison takes a whack at the 44-yard line, and again a big defensive play. Hawkins coming in there. Might have been Theo Rich to help out as well, and so the Jags getting fired up on defense here late in the first half.
It looks like Jimmy Gibson was also in as well. It's a great job at the point of attack.
I think Davin Hawkins, Gibson, you're right, number 40 there as well. 4th down and 154 and counting now in the half.
That was a great job. Great open field tackle on a very speedy, elusive guy in Ellison. Good job, Davin Hawkins. This defense, Matt, steps up again in critical situation, forcing a punt here before half.
Glover lets it hit in front of him and then takes it on the hop, covers it at the 13-yard line with 89 seconds to play in the first half. Jaguars go on offense. You got your 2-minute or a little bit less than 2-minute offense now to operate. What do you expect if you're Willie Fritz on the defensive side?
Well, I think this offense is really set up for this 2-minute type situation. They've looked better when they've gotten into some rhythm so far in this game, and I like the way that last touchdown play went. Getting the ball, more higher percentage passes, getting in the hands of those weapons, let them make some guys miss here. But obviously now, here with just under 1:30 and 2 timeouts, they'll have to use the sideline, obviously, to keep the clock stopped.
And how about a big credit to Joey Jones? He's the guy who said, we're not going to kick a field goal here. We're going to go for it on 4th down.
Great decision.
And it turned into 6 for him. Joey Jones. Ball is out at the end of the play, and I think the Jags got back on top of it after the tackle by Bernard Dawson.
Well, I don't understand right now if you're South Alabama why you're not trying to run a play. You see the run by Jones. Right now this clock is ticking. It's a good 12, 15 seconds, 20 seconds that's gone off this clock. Not sure what the story is here. Let's hike the ball.
Now less than a minute to play in the half. Kendall Houston, nothing doing right there. Edwin Jackson, the linebacker, stonewalls him.
If you're Georgia Southern, I mean, why don't you take a timeout here? You know, I mean.
Yeah, if they're just going to let the clock run. It's 3rd down. But it looks like both teams are just anxious to get into the locker room.
Yeah, I would choose to be a little bit more aggressive here. But South Alabama says, look, we're going to go here down really just 1 score. Take it into half, make some adjustments, and come out here in the 3rd quarter.
Might be the final play of the half right here with the snail's pace that these two teams are operating. Kendall Houston, nothing doing. Looks like they're going to be content. That was Justice Ajike making the tackle. And now a timeout is called. Nope, just a man down. No timeout called. No, Georgia Southern called a timeout with 8 seconds. Interesting. Well, you got to be going for the block right here, right?
Right, yeah. Well, yeah, that's the only thing left.
If they're punting, well, you're making a – well, I think what you're doing here with 8 seconds left on 4th down is you're making them make a decision. You're not going to be able to just down the ball because then we get it. We're going to make you punt, and we're going to go after the punt and try to get a block here on the final play of the half.
Right, go after the punt, or maybe you get a situation. We know how much Will Fritz likes his special teams. Maybe you try to make something happen. But, again, I don't know, with 2 timeouts, I don't know why Georgia Southern didn't call a timeout on the play before.
Yeah.
And give themselves even more time to get the ball back and maybe make a few plays to the sideline, kick a field goal before half.
Well, this timeout means we're just not going to let you down the ball. We're going to make you make a play.
We're going to make a play, execute,
yeah,
basically.
We're going to make you execute a punt. They bring everybody right up the middle. Don't get to it. Returnable here, but Butler lets it hit in front of him, and that's going to be the end of the half. So the Georgia Southern Eagles, Rocky, in their Sun Belt opener with a 14-6 lead on the South Alabama Jaguars here on their home field.
Well, it's so important for South Alabama. They didn't look very good, Matt, through the first quarter and a half of that game, but right before half, got some plays together, got into some rhythm, and obviously got in the end zone. and you're going to make this thing a ball game here. And again, regroup. You got halftime, come out, make a few adjustments, and let's see what happens.
The big play by Matt Breida, the 64-yard touchdown run. A couple of big quarterback sacks and big plays by the Georgia Southern defense, kind of the story of that first half.
Absolutely, and South Alabama's defense, give them credit on some great third downs as well.
Let's go down to Danielle Percival. She's standing by with Coach Willie Fritz.
Coach, thanks for stopping by. Your offense, really the key to this first half. What's been the key to their success so far?
Well, we're able to run the football. And when we can run the football, we can set it up with some play-action pass. Offensive line's doing a nice job of creating some seams. We need to continue to keep doing that.
Now, your defense gives up the touchdown late. What was the breakdown there on that fourth down conversion?
Well, we're just having a tough time. We're playing man coverage. We brought a blitz, and when you're playing man, you got to be close, and at the very least, tackle the guys. So I think we're bending, but we're not breaking defensively for the most part.
Thanks, Coach. Matt?
Thank you, Danielle. Willie Fritz and the Georgia Southern Eagles head to the locker room. They are halfway through their Sun Belt Conference opener. Matt Breida, the 64-yard touchdown run. South Alabama making mistakes in that first half, and we head to the locker room with the Eagles on top 14-6.
Get a signing bonus, a dime every time. That's right, you get 10 cents back every time you swipe your First Bank & Trust debit card. So switch to the home team at First Bank & Trust, where your goals come first.
Getting ready for the start of the second half. Georgia Southern 14-6 lead on South Alabama. Danielle Percival along with Joey Jones.
Coach, your offense converts on the fourth down late in the second half. What was the key to that conversion?
Well, first of all, we wanted to go for it. We're down 14 points. We felt like we needed to go for it. And Brandon made a good throw, and Chavez made a good catch and run. So we just got to execute this half. We kind of drove down there a couple times, shot ourselves in the foot, and it's going to be a ball game now. And it's we're within a touchdown. It's going to be a heck of a second half.
Now you mentioned that execution. What is going to be the key to getting things turned around here in the second half?
Just got to make plays. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's really not anything complex as far as the scheme goes. It's just about blocking and tackling, catching and running.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Matt?
The Sun Belt Conference Game of the Week is brought to you by Golden Flake, the South's original potato chip and the official potato chip of the Sun Belt Conference. Under Armour. Visit UA.com today to see Under Armour's full range of performance gear. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit Geico.com for a free rate quote. And First Bank & Trust. Willie Fritz and the Georgia Southern Eagles halfway to their first ever Sun Belt Conference victory, leading 14-6 here at Ladd-Peebles Stadium. Rocky looking at the halftime stats. Brandon Bridge, 5 of 16 passing for 73 yards, took a couple of sacks. Not all of those 11 incompletions on him.
Yeah, it's been a fault of both him and the wide receivers at times here. Sometimes he hasn't been quite as precise with his passes, and then sometimes when he has, there's been some drop balls. But I'll tell you what, one stat we haven't talked about that really jumps out at me is no turnovers so far by either team here in the first half. Usually, more times than not in these close ball games, a turnover, especially a turnover late, is what decides these type games. And that's something we'll be watching for here as the second half gets ready to start.
Something else to watch for, a couple of number changes here at halftime. I don't know whether jerseys got torn or what happened, but Roman Buchanan, the safety for South Alabama, now wearing number 25, and Jay Ellison, the tackle for Georgia Southern, now wearing number 92 instead of 99.
Yeah, so it's not Jonathan Battle hasn't made a miraculous comeback at halftime here. He'll now be wearing his 92. So, yeah, not sure exactly what the story is with that, but that's the change.
Aline Sunanan ready to kick off for South Alabama. He missed an extra point in that first half. And Butler from the 5. Actually, Derek Keaton on the return, and Keaton up to the 29-yard line. Tackle made by Devon Earl. And we'll see the Georgia Southern Eagles on offense here to start this third quarter. Matt Breida, 9 carries, 129 yards rushing in that first half. Kevin Ellison, 6 carries for 31 yards, 3 of 5 passing, 58 yards, and all 3 completions to B.J. Johnson.
Well, this Georgia Southern offense has looked like a well-oiled machine here. Now, we talked about it coming in and just how precise, and they run that offense with such precision, and it all starts with Ellison doing the job with his legs and in the air.
Handoff, Breida. Breida tackled at the 34-yard line. Theo Rich making the tackle for the Jags. Interesting, we haven't seen Fabian Upshaw, and it's only interesting because they told us they wanted to get Upshaw some work. Remember, last week Kevin Ellison had to exit that Georgia Tech game late after he injured his shoulder when he fell on it hard, and Upshaw had to finish up the game. But no ill effects from that shoulder injury suffered last week in Atlanta. At least we have not seen any here tonight in Mobile. Dean, the H-back in motion. And Ellison going to run it. And Ellison up to the 39-yard line. Ellison gets close to the sticks.
And I'll tell you what I loved about that play right there is the pass wasn't there. And for a guy in Ellison that doesn't have that much experience passing the ball, he made a great decision right there. Don't try to force a ball into bad coverage. Go ahead and tuck it, run it, and pick up the first down. Love it.
It is a first down at the 39-yard line.
And you talk about Fabian Upshaw, the backup quarterback. What they'll do, Matt, is they'll give him a set package of plays where he'll come in.
They're going to review to see the spot. They're going to review the spot to see if Ellison indeed did get the first down at the 39. They've already moved the sticks.
It was close. I thought it was closer than they just went and gave him the first down. We'll check out the replay. Again, I love the decision. Tries to go for the pass. It's not there. Boom. Tuck it. Don't force the ball in. See, it looks like he comes. It's hard to tell, obviously, from that angle. They have the ball spotted on the 39-yard line.
He might have been about a half yard short of that 39.
Yeah,
it really depends
my initial,
upon,
vision thought that he was short.
Yeah, it really depends upon where the ball is in relation to the ground when his knee hits the ground. When his knee hits the ground, then he's down right there.
And it looks about the 38.5, 39-yard line.
And that's exactly what they've decided. You're right. They're going to move it back a yard, and it's going to be 3rd down and 1 coming up instead of a first down. So this becomes a big play right here.
Absolutely. I think this has got to be all Matt Breida here in this situation. He's run so well, especially between the tackles, showing the good toughness to run inside and obviously the speed.
So big test here for South Alabama's defense and a chance to get the Eagles off the field. Ellison to the near side. He's caught by Malik Harris, and a big loss back at the 34-yard line.
And I'll tell you what, Matt, I don't know why you run an option play into the boundary like that. Usually option plays are better when you run them into space, but credit the penetration. Malik Harris really making that play happen for South Alabama. I talked about it earlier. Penetration is what kills triple options, Matt. And again, I disagree with that play call. If you're going to run an option play, run it to the field where you got more space.
Yeah, the sideline becomes the 12th defender for you. I don't understand that either. You're right on the money, Rocky. 4th down, and the Eagles have to punt. And a booming kick by Nowicki. Glover takes the fair catch at the 29-yard line, and the Jags will go on offense. We'll see if the Jags offense sparked by the big stand by the defense. Opening 2 minutes of the 3rd quarter. South Alabama with the ball when we get back. Mobile, Alabama, home to Ladd Peoples Stadium. The GoDaddy Bowl and the Senior Bowl played right here in this facility. Just underway. First 2 minutes of this second half. South Alabama now with the ball, down 8. And on offense for the first time here in the 3rd quarter. Bridge, after bobbling the snap, can't get to the outside and drop for a loss. Antoine Williams, the linebacker.
I'll tell you what, that play aside, we talk about South Alabama wanting to establish the run. They had 126 yards on the ground in the first half. The most they've had all year in one game is 186 versus Kent State. So definitely doing well in the run game.
Well, one of the things that Jags OC Robert Matthews told us is they wanted to get Bridge to the edge here tonight. And they haven't really been able to do that. Once they were able to do that for a nice first down run. 2nd down and 11 now. Incomplete. Throwing short for the intended target out here on the near side. That was Jeremy Jones. And now it's going to be 3rd down and long.
And you see, obviously, a blown play on 1st down and then an incompletion on 2nd down. All of a sudden, just like that, you find yourself on 3rd and 11. Here's that 3-by-1 formation. Again, we see Shavarez Smith one-on-one to the top of your screen. Let's talk about the 3 wide receiver side is your concept side. That's where you'll see route combinations. The backside is where they'll go. If they see a one-on-one matchup an offense likes, that's where we'll go with the ball.
After a 21 for 39 performance with 9 drops last week against Mississippi State, even spottier performance.
Wow.
For South Alabama here tonight, and another drop. Danny Woodson. That is the 3rd time Woodson's had his hands on the ball tonight and not come up with the pass reception.
And Bridge throws a strike. That ball's on the money. It's a 1st down. The chains are moving. The crowd's back in the game. And then just like that, Matt, the air gets sucked out of the stadium. And you can tell right now, Woodson, there's things going on in his head right now. He's frustrated. He's got to find a way to get some confidence and get back in this game, because I'll tell you what, they're going to need him as this game goes on.
Well, think how Joey Jones feels, an all-SEC wide receiver for Bear Bryant at the University of Alabama. You think those drops don't gall him?
I don't think Bear Bryant stood for drop passes too much either.
Butler from the 20. And Butler, 4-yard return before being dropped by T.J. Glover. Joey Jones sends his defense back out there, down 8. Three minutes into the 3rd quarter, Georgia Southern now going on offense. 14-6 lead on South Alabama.
Tell you what, South Alabama's defense made some key stops. I saw a few just before half get the ball back to their offense. In their last drive, stopping Georgia Southern on 3rd and 1. Got to come up big here again.
Breida unable to beat Malik Harris. Couple of yards there for Matt Breida.
And Travis Pearson, the DC, South Alabama talked about. The linebackers got to be good today. Malik Harris, I think, has played an outstanding game, making a nice play in space. We saw him with a big 3rd down stop a series earlier.
Yeah, Coach Pearson tells us Harris is a guy that brings his lunch pail to work every day. Really loves his energy and work ethic, spreads to the rest of the team. Ellison to the far side. That is complete. Kentrellis Showers with the catch and a 1st down.
Again, Kentrellis Showers, another guy that's really benefited from the more passing this offense has done. Showers was a walk-on who earned a scholarship versus Savannah State, had a 43 and a 38-yard touchdown. Come up with a big catch there.
Number 7 in the Sun Belt Conference, 72 yards receiving per game. He's number 6 on Georgia Southern's all-time touchdown list with 9. And he's done that on just 36 career receptions. Going for the home run, and Crockett can't catch up with it. Monte Crockett, the intended target.
And I was just getting ready to say, I've been really impressed with the accuracy of Ellison tonight. That play aside, he had the receiver open downfield, and you can see right there, he's like, God, I wish I had that one back. Because, again, for a guy that hasn't really his entire career passed the ball much, Matt, he's looked very good tonight, very accurate.
Ellison had a 3rd quarter to remember last week in that big comeback against Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Rushed for 77 yards and passed for 128 in that 3rd quarter as they made up a 35-10 deficit.
Yeah, led 4 straight touchdown drives in the second half, got them back in that game.
But then got hurt and couldn't finish the game. Downfield, and Showers unable to bring it in with the one-hand catch.
Thought Showers could have possibly got his other hand on that football and had a better chance of catching it.
Davin Hawkins, the linebacker, down on the field grabbing his left leg. Hawkins, the leading tackler for South Alabama in that first half with 8 stops.
Looks to be in some pain here. Looks like his left knee. they're going to take a look at. Again, we'll try to see the replay here, see if Showers could have gotten his other hand on this ball.
That's why it hurts. He took a shot right to his left knee.
Yeah, it was close. I thought Showers could have reached out with both hands and caught that ball. And as you said, Hawkins took a shot on that knee, but it looks to be okay. These are the ones that hurt, and
you could
try
see
to
him
shake them off. And
you could see him say, "I'm okay."
Yep, that's good. God, you always get so nervous when you see guys go down with knee injuries.
3rd down and 10.
3rd and 10. This is where obviously you're looking toward Kentrell Showers, Zach Walker, B.J. Johnson. Most likely a passing play for Georgia Southern here. South Alabama's defensive cornerbacks giving a lot of cushion to those guys outside.
And that is a 1st down catch by B.J. Johnson, his 4th catch of the ball game.
And before that play, South Alabama's cornerbacks are playing 7-8 yards off the ball, giving a lot of cushion, just allowing the wide receivers to get into their route. And then Ellison, as we talked about, put the ball on the money. If I'm Quadarius Ford, especially in a 3rd down situation, I know it's 3rd and long, but make it a little bit harder on those wide receivers. You're allowed to use your hands more in college football. Use your advantage. Obviously, in pro football, you can't even hardly touch a guy anymore, but in college, you can until the ball's in the air.
Ramsby up to the 40-yard line, 5-yard pickup for Ramsby. Jimmy Gibson making the tackle.
It's just a feeling, but I think Ramsby is just one play away from really breaking one. He's so dangerous when he gets the ball in his hand.
Ramsby will not make a play this time. Malik Harris captures him behind the line of scrimmage.
Malik Harris, sideline to sideline again. He tried to get outside, but when you got a speedy linebacker shooting gaps the way Harris is, it's to no avail. That's an excellent play by a linebacker.
Sun Belt Conference Defensive Player of the Week last week, 14 tackles, 2 forced fumbles in that loss against Mississippi State. 2nd double-digit tackle effort of his career. Putting together a big 3rd quarter. He's already got 2 tackles for loss here in the first 5.5 minutes of this period. 3rd down. Ellison runs it up the chute. 1st down for Ellison. And more. Ellison inside the 20. And Ellison shoved out of bounds near the 5. Big time run by Kevin Ellison on a 3rd down and 6 from the 41. Picks up 35.
Man, I could be wrong, but I don't think this was a designed run. I think he just saw a gap open up to the inside and just hit it. No hesitation. And what an excellent decision he made.
And that was a great example. If we get another chance to see that replay, when he got about 3 or 4 yards beyond that line of scrimmage, he put his foot in the ground, and as Willie Fritz says, got vertical.
Got vertical. Very shifty, but again, you can be as shifty as you want as a guy carrying the ball, but at some point you got to be able to put that foot in the ground and get vertical, and he did that there.
Ellison dives for the end zone and stopped inside the 1-yard line.
Yeah, he made a reach for it, Matt, but I think his knee was down before he was able to cross the goal line.
Kevin Ellison started 6 games a year ago, including that big 26-20 win over the Florida Gators in the Swamp.
Yeah.
Sophomore out of Habersham Central Georgia High School.
That's the game that really put this Georgia Southern program on the map, at least from a national perspective. But such a history by this team.
Breida did not get in. Brings up a 3rd down and short inside the 1.
And I think in this situation, you got to put the ball in the hands of Kevin Ellison. He's had such a great game, been able to make guys miss. If I'm honest, I hope they don't run the option play into the boundary this time. Maybe if you're going to do that, try it to the field where there's more room to work.
Or put Ramsby in there and run it right up the middle. But Breida's the back. Can't argue with Breida, but they're going empty set here. And a timeout called by South Alabama. So a timeout on 3rd and goal inside the 1.
And with the way South Alabama here on the goal line looks like they're going to play man-to-man again, that's what makes a quarterback running the ball so dangerous, because those cornerbacks, they're so concerned with their man that they're trying to cover all of a sudden now they got the running back, or the quarterback coming at them. They got a decision to make. Do they let their wide receiver go? Do they come up and tackle him? That's why I'm always such a fan here in the red zone and on the goal line of giving your quarterback a two-way go, an option to throw, and if it's not there, boom, he can tuck it and go.
And that's the thing that defensive coordinator Travis Pearson told us makes Georgia Southern so darn dangerous is that this game is about all 11 players on offense and defense. They make you, Georgia Southern, they make you defend the entire field and everybody on the field.
Absolutely. And the other thing, too, with how complex their scheme is, Matt, what they do, they make you think out there. And as a former defensive player, I know you don't want to be thinking. You want to be reacting. And when you're thinking, God, what do I do on this play? What's my key? What's this? Your athleticism can't really shine through. It's what makes it so hard. But those linebackers have done, in my opinion, a pretty good job here tonight for South Alabama.
3rd down and goal inside the 1.
See, they're going to try to burst out, try to catch him off guard.
Breida, touchdown.
And that's the play they should have run on the 3rd and 1 we saw earlier where they ran the ball into the boundary there. Breida got such a downhill nature. I love him. He gets those shoulders square. He can hit it up in the hole. Look, just handed, good job, nice job by the guard right there pulling, getting him in the end zone.
Breida with his 2nd touchdown of the night and his conference-leading 7th rushing touchdown. Hanks on for the PAT.
How about Matt Breida? Can get the tough yards inside, Matt, but then we saw earlier in the game with the explosion and the speed as well.
21-6. And halfway through the 3rd quarter, the Georgia Southern Eagles have opened up their largest lead of the night. Kevin Ellison with the big 35-yard run to set up the touchdown run by Matt Breida. And a 2-score lead for Georgia Southern. Seven to play in the 3rd quarter. Georgia Southern a 21-6 lead on South Alabama. Matt Stewart, Rocky Boyman, and Danielle Percival. And Rocky, Georgia Southern, the newcomers in the conference, making a statement here against the team picked to win or finish 3rd in the conference.
They really are. I've been so impressed with them tonight. Not that I wasn't impressed with them coming into this game, the way they've played, again, holding 2 ACC opponents. Really just 1-point game versus NC State. Then last week lost it on the final drive by Georgia Tech. I'll tell you what, again, we talked about it. They were picked to finish 8th out of 11 in this Sun Belt League. I'll tell you what, they look pretty darn good right now.
No return right here by Timmons, so the Jags will take the ball at the 25 as we check in with Danielle down on the sideline.
Well, during that last drive, Davin Hawkins came off injured for South Alabama, appeared to be cleared, ready to go, was given his helmet, came back grimacing in pain. He has been ruled out for this contest with a sprained left knee, so Hawkins is out for the Jaguars for this game.
That's a big loss there, Rocky, because he was their leading tackler in the first half.
He really was. He was making some plays we talked about. And look, with the way how complex this offense is by Georgia Southern, those linebackers are so critical. And now the Jaguars without one of their best players in that linebacking corps.
We'll check to see who subs in here when they go back out on defense. Now the Jags on offense from the 25 and needing to get something done. Glover coming on the end around, and Glover close to a first down, might have stepped out just shy of the sticks at the 36, or maybe he did get the first down. I think he did get the first down just beyond the sticks.
It was a good job at the last second turning that ball upfield. Looked like that play was going to get strung out. Glover showing some nice speed.
Jags just not really able to get any kind of a running game going. I mean, that's a nice run by Glover. And this time, Jones pushed back. Case in point right there.
Yeah, they've had some positive run plays, but then again, lots of negative runs as well. It's really just kind of stalled them. So many times I've seen a good positive play on first down. Okay, good, here we go. Now we're going to start to roll a little bit, and then here we go. Now it's a loss. Back at 2nd and 11.
Play clock down to 5. Bridge being chased. Richardson chasing after him, and that's caught in the middle of the field and a flag out as well. Wes Saxton, the tight end, with his second grab of the ball game, but we'll check the flag.
And it may have been a personal foul on the center, Joe Shelfo. We'll see what happened here.
Drew Dearman, the left guard, I kind of thought that might happen because the play took so long to develop and then Bridge started running. You know, it's easy for those offensive linemen to kind of drift downfield when that happens. Watch number 72.
Well, you're right. You know, those guys want to get downfield and make some blocks and things like that. But, yeah, you see in the middle of your screen just got too far down the field. I tell you what, that's a play I think the official could call a lot more. You don't see it called much, but they did right there.
So 2nd down and 16 following the penalty. And this has been a theme for South Alabama tonight. Make a play, lose it because of a penalty. Make a play and then have a bad offense play. Drop ball, a sack, or something like that. That's another completion. Smith, first down. Big effort by Shavarez Smith to pick up the first down at the 50-yard line.
Great job, Shavarez Smith. We talked about they need a play right here. Brandon Bridge, good job delivering the ball to his weapon. And Smith, 1 tackle missed, 2 tackles missed, picking up the first down. There you go.
And that's what they're going to need. They're going to have somebody make an extraordinary effort.
That's what it is. But they got the players out that can do that. They just got to make the plays when they're there.
Bridge on the run, and there you go. They get him to the edge. That's something Coach Matthews told us they wanted to do. They do it, and they pick up the first down.
Yeah, again, Bridge is such a weapon, a dual-threat guy. You can see he's had a couple nice runs picking up the first down, just scrambling with the ball. It's always a favorite. Look, I know offensive guys, you want to get a scheme going and all that, but at the end of the day, football is about getting the ball in the hands of good players in space, period. However you got to do it. If it's Brandon Bridge running, letting him make some guys miss, or guys like Shavarez Smith, Marvin Shin, getting guys in one-on-one matchups, that's what it's all about.
1st and 10 from the 38. Kendall Houston gets the rock. And Houston gets about 3 yards on the play. Darius Sapp making that tackle.
And Houston had a nice stretch there in the first half where they had a couple nice runs. Haven't seen him much so far in the second half. Trying to get him back involved in this offense.
If we can get a shot, look, Sapp, he is just a space eater, man. They list him at 320. I think he's north of that. Look at him.
Looks like Warren Sapp, I'll tell you what.
You put Sapp and Ellison out there together.
Big old rear end. He's a space eater. You talking?
Try getting around those guys. That's a first down completion.
There you go. You've talked about him, Matt. Former Alabama transfer, Marvin Shin. Great job with the catch, making a few guys miss. If this offense cannot shoot itself in the foot, Matt, they have the ability to move the ball down the field.
Xavier Johnson on the toss. Picks up a couple of yards on the play. Johnson, the redshirt freshman out of Tampa. They're really high on this guy because of his explosiveness. But as Joey Jones says, you know, the big thing that's working against him right now is just he's a freshman. Yeah. And do you trust him to do what he's supposed to do when he's told to do it?
Well, the big thing, too, is when he's in pass protection situations. That's when those freshmen, you start to lose a little bit of confidence in them. It's not so much in the run game a lot
Running,
of times.
they know how to do.
Yeah, give me the ball and run, but yeah.
Blocking is something they learn when they get to college. They haven't ever blocked in high school.
Say what, if you're a young running back, though, and you want to find a way to get on the field, if you can show your coach you can pass protect, you will get on the field.
2nd down and 7. That's
nice
Xavier Johnson again. And Johnson has a first down. Still moving the pile inside that 10-yard line and down to the 9.
That was great vision by Johnson on that play. A little opening, a little daylight opened up to the right side. We'll see in the replay. Watch, he's bottled up. Boom, right there. Then puts the right foot in the ground and gets forward. Love it.
And a super block by their All-Sun Belt Conference first-team right tackle Chris May to seal off things and open up that wide lane for Johnson to run right through. 1st and goal to go from the 9. Bridge has a pocket, throws, back other side, Marvin Shin, incomplete. Good tight coverage by Nick Wright, the corner, and Shin's shaken up.
Yeah, good job here.
A lot of contact.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there. And I'll tell you what, Darius Jones, their starting cornerback, I've not seen him in the last few plays here, especially this entire series.
And he was the guy that got burned on the fourth down play.
Yeah, but now
Didn't
Nick
make
Wright's
the
back
tackle.
up in, yeah. So Georgia Southern now down another guy.
2nd down and 9. That might just be coach's decision. Remember,
Could
Willie
be.
Fritz said we
Yeah,
didn't make
true.
the tackle.
That's
so
true.
Probably not happy about the fact they missed the tackle on that 4th down play that resulted in the touchdown for South Alabama. Here comes a heavy rush. They pick up the block. It is complete, and it's dropped by Braden Bowman. He gets back on top of it. That was a super. You were talking about Xavier Johnson in pass pro. He did the job right here.
At the
Watching.
last second, nice job picking up the block, and that's a fumble, and luckily he gets back on top of it. Okay, well, right now, if you're Georgia Southern, now's the time to see one of those big play linebackers. Edwin Jackson, Antoine Williams have made big plays for this defense. No bigger time than right now, 3rd and 7.
Now, Jay Jones in there at running back. Bridge going to run it. Runs to the pylon, and Dobson won't let him get there. Nice play by Matt Dobson. You've pointed him out several times here tonight, Rocky. He cut down the edge.
Look, just from the deep half right there, look, sees the run, and this is not easy to do, folks. Tackling a guy like Brandon Bridge in the open field. Does an excellent job, I'll tell you what, and Edwin Jackson in there as well.
And a good job of using the boundary as an extra defender right there.
These Georgia Southern players, you can just tell us Will Fritz, they're so smart. But look, here we go, 4th down and 9.
And they're going for it rather than go for the field goal, down 15 points right here.
Well, the play they liked last time on the touchdown in a critical situation was Shavara Smith. He's at the top of the screen. We'll see if they like that matchup again.
I like this call here by Joey Jones to go for it. Bridge, he's being chased. And a quarterback sack. Bernard Dawson gets him in another huge play by the Georgia Southern defense, their 3rd sack of the night.
Unbelievable effort by a great player in Bernard Dawson. Again, Bridge is not the easiest guy in the world to get down, but beats his man. Look, we'll see, come through right through the middle and just relentless, just getting after it, pulling down, jersey, feet, whatever you got to do. That's a heck of a play, young man.
A flag out.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see if Dawson officially gets the sack. I guess if it's the penalty, they don't. But whether he gets the official sack or not, he made the play, and the ball goes over on the penalty and downs to Georgia Southern at the 24-yard line.
That's a big play. I mean, 4th and 9. I mean, I understand you want to be aggressive and you're down 21-6, but man, that's obviously tough sled in 4th 9. I think they were trying to give a little bit of a run pass option for Bridge, but this suffocating defense by Georgia Southern took care of business.
So Eagles back on offense. Ransby gets a couple of yards on the play. But how about that Georgia Southern defense tonight? The sacks have come from the defensive line.
Yeah.
Quan Daniels, Jay Ellison, Bernard Dawson.
Right. I mean, that entire front has played well. I mean, Edwin Jackson had a nice pressure from the linebacker spot early in the game. But, yeah, defensive line coming up big.
2nd down and 8. Ellison, watch him get to the edge. He's got a 1st down and more, and then goes out of bounds at the 43-yard line.
I mean, such confidence, such command when you watch Kevin Ellison. He's very calm out there, knows the scheme of this offense. There's not any real panic ever you see with the way he plays.
I'll tell you what, if you're South Alabama, you got to start to be worried about right now.
Absolutely, because this is what Georgia Southern does best, and especially now they've kind of grinded you out a little bit.
Yep.
That's what they do is just really kind of put you down, keep that clock moving with this run-first offense.
They put another one in the end zone. They're up 3 scores in just 1 quarter to play. B.J. Johnson, nothing doing out there that time. E.J. May making the tackle. Final half minute of the 3rd quarter. might be the final play of the third quarter. Difference of about 4 or 5 seconds, game clock and play clock. Ramsey. Not much doing right there. Jerome McClain making the tackle, and that is the end of the third quarter. Georgia Southern, 15 minutes away from winning an historic game in their illustrious history, their first ever game in the Sun Belt Conference. And the Eagles will take a 21-6 lead to the final quarter here in Mobile. Week is brought to you by Golden Flake, the South's original potato chip and the official potato chip of the Sun Belt Conference. Under Armour. Visit UA.com today to see Under Armour's full range of performance gear. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit Geico.com for a free rate quote. And First Bank and Trust. Start of the fourth quarter. Matt Stewart, Rocky Boyman, Danielle Percival. Georgia Southern, 15-point lead on South Alabama, and their hands on the ball at the 44 in a 3rd and 9. Ellison's rushed for 89 and thrown for 85. Wow. And he throws a pick right into the hands of Malik Harris. Malik Harris, back-to-back big-time games for the preseason second team All-Sun Belt Conference linebacker. And maybe the play that gets the Jags going here to start this fourth quarter.
And I don't think Ellison even saw Harris right there. I talked about it as the half came up here, Matt. It's usually these kind of tight games comes down to a turnover. There weren't any in the first half. That's a big game-changing play for South Alabama. Now they got to capitalize.
How about Malik Harris? 9 tackles, 2 for loss, and now an interception to get his offense back on the field. Remember, Georgia Southern's problem in their 2 losses have been finishing the game.
Yes,
turnovers
that's a great point.
Killed them against NC State and also against Georgia Tech. And a big defensive play there by the Eagles as Sapp stops Xavier Johnson right in his tracks for a loss.
There's something you love about those big guys, I'll tell you what.
It's like having a concrete wall fall right on top of it.
If you're a Johnson, you don't want to run right into the arms of that guy again. He said just a freshman, like 18, 19 years old.
At a powerful Valdosta High School in Georgia. 2nd down and 10. Bridge coming to the near side over here, and another drop. Claude Garrett drops the ball.
I don't have the official numbers, but between drops and missed throws, there's been at least 10 opportunities, Matt, that this offense has not been able to take advantage of that they should. And Garrett last week, he would have had about a 45-yard touchdown that he dropped in the end zone, and just, man. Well, what can you say? Guys are open, and in this case, Bridge puts the ball right on the money. Got to come up with that ball.
They've got a rotation of about 6 wide receivers. They might need to trim that down to about 2 or 3 guys that will catch the ball. Bridge. Buying time. Man, is he being chased. Great scramble job by Bridge, who now finally throws it for a completion, but was he past the line of scrimmage?
He was definitely past the line there.
Flag is out on the completion to Jay Jones, but a flag came out as soon as he let go of the ball.
We'll check the replay here.
I don't think he was.
Yeah, I don't think he was. I got another look at the spot.
Yeah, I don't think he was beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball.
No, you're absolutely right.
From that standpoint, I think he's okay. It might be a penalty on something else here.
Could it be another lineman downfield?
Illegal block on the offense, number 77.
Yeah. Melvin Meggs, the right guard, called for the illegal block.
And Meggs trying to make a block to give his quarterback some time. Try to see on the replay here. I mean, look at the great job of just keeping this play alive, and so far no one's been able to. Right here,
no, that's it right there.
Yeah, you see him go low, and Obviously, they're going to call that in the name of player safety.
Meggs, a team-leading 35th career start here tonight after missing all of last season following a weight room knee injury. Only 6 points on the board for the Jags tonight. They've scored only 25 points in their first 2+ games this season. Off the hands of Terrence Timmons.
And you can see the frustration. You're starting to see some hands on some hips right now. And
Jags unable to capitalize on that interception by Malik Harris.
I mean, how many different ways can we say it? The problem with South Alabama right now, it isn't talent. It's not players. It's not necessarily scheme. It's missed opportunities. You get a game-changing turnover by one of your star linebackers with decent field position, and just a few missed catches, some things going wrong there, and just not able to capitalize.
McKee the punt. Butler gets hit.
Now they're going to jump on.
Ball is loose. Let's see whose ball it's going to be. I'm guessing we have interference on the punt returner right here. Unless, of course, the defensive player was blocked into him.
Right, that's going to be the deciding factor.
Kick catch interference number 24 of the kicking team. The penalty will be enforced 15 yards from the spot.
So the penalty will be on TJ Glover. It will be a penalty on South Alabama. And a break for Georgia Southern. They'll have the ball when we get back. Well, the crowd still upset here at Ladd-Peebles Stadium, and so is Joey Jones. We'll show you the replay, and here's why.
And rightfully so. There's no interference right there by South Alabama. It's Nick Wright for Georgia Southern, and I'm not so sure if that ball doesn't hit him right there, but either way, that's not a penalty on South Alabama. That's a terrible call in a critical situation.
So the ball at the 42 for the Eagles and a first down. Breida responds with a first down run across the 50 and down past the 48. But again, the significance of that penalty, rather than the ball being at least downed back inside the 25, if not a fumble recovery.
Right.
The ball at the 42 and then a 10-yard run, and now the Eagles have it in your territory one play later.
Yeah, that's a shame on that call there. That's an easy one, too. He should be able to get that one right.
So 1st and 10 for the Eagles at the Jaguars' 47-yard line. Crowd still voicing their displeasure. And Breida wrapped up at the line of scrimmage by Akeem Lewis.
Matt Breida, I'll tell you, he runs angry, Matt. I love watching him run. Again, like we've talked about it, keeps the legs churning. Breaking tackles. So many times, Matt, you see guys, even at the professional level, on first contact, running backs' legs will stop. But the really good ones, they keep them legs going. You see Marshawn Lynch do that all the time, and Matt Breida's doing a nice job of that tonight as well.
Career high 153 on the night for Breida. Still moving the pile as he is up close to 160 yards rushing here tonight. And he had the big 64-yard touchdown run on the final play of the first quarter. And the Eagles have not trailed all night. .281 yards on the ground for Georgia Southern tonight. 1st and 10, ball is at the 37.
I have a feeling they're going to go over 300 tonight, and might be on this play.
Yeah, Breida bites off another big chunk of yards, picks up about 13 or 14 on that play right there.
And it just looks like this defensive front for South Alabama has really done a pretty good job all game, all things considered, is starting to wear down a little bit, Matt.
1st and 10, ball at the 25. Eagles trying to apply the knockout punch perhaps right here on this drive.
Milking that clock all the way down, take as much time as they can.
Ransby. Great penetration right there that time by Jimmy Gibson.
And I'll tell you what, this is an opportunity, Matt, with the way they've been the last 4 or 5 plays and just run the ball to the middle. At some point, Kevin Ellison is going to keep that ball, and he's going to have a lot of yardage to run with. Right now, they're trying to stop that bleeding inside, and they're going to focus their troops there, and there are probably going to be some opportunities for Ellison.
2nd down and 9. Ellison with 89 yards on the ground, 85 in the air. 5 of his 6 completions have gone to B.J. Johnson tonight. Ransby gets the ball again, and a flag out as Ransby gets inside the 20-yard line. Rich James making the tackle for the Jags.
And maybe a face mask.
Check the call from Chuck Lewis.
Maybe not. Looks like it's going to be on Georgia Southern.
They are in retreat mode.
And Jerry Jones says, you guys owe us.
That's Garrett Fry, their senior left tackle, a 2013 AP second team All-American at the FCS level last year.
And he's a first-team Sun Belt guy this year. There's a lot of concerns teams have coming up, especially when you're making the jump to FBS, but this offensive line, this running game definitely wasn't one of them.
First penalty on Georgia Southern tonight.
And there's so much to be said, Matt, about teams that don't beat themselves. And Georgia Southern, you see, with just 1 penalty, no real miscues. And on the opposite side of the coin, we have South Alabama that I would say arguably from 1 to 80 probably has better overall talent on their roster, but the execution, for whatever reason, is just still not there. There's so much potential, but they got to find a way to execute better.
And remember, South Alabama came into this game as the least penalized team in the Sun Belt Conference. But they have killed themselves tonight with penalties.
Well,
and allowed big plays on defense.
Big plays on defense. Drops. And just the drop balls. And that's what's really, again, it's just not just one area. It's overall execution, especially with the offense, with the drops. That's just that's just absolutely maddening.
Really, outside of the one play, the 4th down execution, touchdown pass in the second quarter, that's really about the only offensive highlight you can look to for the Jags tonight.
And I have to go back and look at it, but it seems like virtually every drive, whether it was a lot of them that were going good for a while, there'd be a negative yardage play or a drop ball or a penalty, something that would just stall a drive.
Ball at the 34, got to get to the 15 for the first, so 2nd down and 19 now for the Eagles.
Let's play some football. What's going on here?
Well, the officials are having a hard time figuring out where the ball needs to be after marking off the penalty.
Will Free, ask the head coach. He'd tell you where the ball goes. He'd say up a little bit further.
Looks like Chuck Lewis and the guys have figured out it's at the 34.
Here we go.
Ellison right up the middle.
Ball's out.
Jags say they have it. Did Breida get on top of it? It looks like the Eagles got back on top of it.
And we'll see Kevin Ellison doing such a good job. We've talked about the run game, but sometimes you see just that last little effort, trying to do too much. He's trying to spin, and just a good job with South Alabama popping that ball out. Man, unfortunately for them, couldn't jump on top of it. That could have been another game changer.
3rd down and 12 right here. If the Jags are going to have any chance of coming back in this ball game, you figure they got to keep them off the board here. Can't allow any more points. They're already down two touchdowns.
And I think you got to come after them right here. Keep them out of field goal range. Obviously, keep them from picking up the first down.
Breida, they run it in the middle of the field, just trying to set themselves up for a field goal right here. Alex Hanks is 4 for 4 on the season. He leads the Sun Belt Conference in three-pointers. And it's 4th down now. And here comes Hanks. This will be roughly a 40-yard kick from right in the middle of the field.
His long on the year is just 32 yards, so this will be the longest field goal he's attempted so far this season. And you know that South Alabama is obviously going to be bringing the house here, trying to get some pressure up the middle, try to get a hand on this football.
Huge field goal attempt here. This will put him up beyond 2 touchdowns. Kick is on its way, and the kick is
no good.
No good. Hooked it to the left. Hanks misses his first field goal attempt of the season, and it keeps South Alabama in the game with 8:21 to play. Down to our final 8:21 in our Sun Belt Game of the Week on ESPN3. Matt Stewart, Rocky Boyman, and Danielle Percival. And if South Alabama is going to come back, Rocky, now the time to do it after the missed field goal by Georgia Southern gives them one more chance, or at least a spark of a chance here, with their hands on the ball and 8.5 minutes to play. Still plenty of time to come back from 2 touchdowns down, but they got to start doing something right now. Pass was thrown complete.
We've talked
Jeremy
about
Jones.
it. Yeah, they have the players that have the big play capability. It's just it's execution. It's getting the ball into their hands, them catching it, and being able to get forward for some yards. That's
Third
been the
catch
issue.
for Jones here tonight. Bridge picked off. Roman Buchanan, or pardon me, Robert Bryce with the interception.
And that's a bad decision by Brandon Bridge to throw that ball, but obviously a great break by Robert Bryce.
Wow.
I mean, look, that's a far throw. You're throwing that ball, got a good 35 yards in the air, giving an opportunity for a defensive back to make a play. It's just not a very high percentage pass, Matt.
And Robert Bryce comes up with the big interception, puts the ball right back in his offense's hands at the 28-yard line. Not much running room for Breida right there. Desmond Lavelle making the tackle. Lavelle came in after Hawkins had to exit the ball game with his knee injury. He's been out there running beside Malik Harris at the linebacker spot.
Now, I think that you're at the point here with South Alabama where you got to make a big play. Bring somebody, get some, bring some pressure, try to shoot a gap and try to pop a ball out, something. I mean, just letting them bleed you out is not going to get the job done.
2nd down and 10. Approaching 7 minutes to play.
Here they come.
Bringing blitz. Ellison keeping. No place to go. And Ellison gets dropped. And now it's going to be 3rd down. .305 yards on the ground for the Georgia Southern Eagles tonight. And before you jump up and down, that's still 59 yards shy of their per-game average.
They're never satisfied in Georgia Southern, I'll tell you what. And I really think as this offense continues to blossom, the addition of the pass game is going to even help that run game because now they're just dangerous enough at the pass game that where you got to respect it, and that's going to open up some holes defensively.
Ellison fumbles the ball forward, and the Jags are on top of it.
New light for South Alabama. They're going to get another crack at this. And again, earlier it's kind of the same situation. Ellison trying to do too much. You got to tell your quarterback, look, at this point in the game, we're up 21-6. Just under 6:30 to go in the game. The worst thing we can do right now is give them the ball back.
And Desmond Lavelle came up with that fumble, and now the Jags again have a chance, but now only 6:22 on the clock.
I'll tell you what, right now it is time for Brandon Bridge to emerge. Again, we've talked about all game. He's shown flashes of how good of a player he can be. I think that whole team, especially that offense, we'll take another look at the play.
Play is under review. It can't be anything but a fumble unless they ruled he was down, and he wasn't. I don't think.
It's hard to tell if that left knee got down.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a close one. Again, it always comes down to, again, inconclusive evidence, but it was hard to tell from those shots there.
It was almost simultaneous in that the ball popped out as his knee was hitting the ground. So it is ruled a fumble after the video evidence upholds the call on the field.
And what I was saying earlier, Matt, I think this offense especially, really this entire team, is looking for Brandon Bridge to put them on his back right now and make a play. This is a time for him to shine. Here's 6:22. Maybe the game's out of reach. I don't know, but I think this offense needs to see out of Brandon Bridge that he's their guy. He can make the big play. He can lead them to victory, even if it's not in this game, as the season moves forward.
So the Jags march right back out there on offense again, taking over at the 29-yard line. Bridge, no place to go. Justice Ajike, another on that tackle. Maybe got half a yard on the play.
And obviously time is not our friend right now. Let's get this ball going, get this ball snapped.
Less than 6 minutes left. Smith with the catch at the 44-yard line. Shavarez Smith. First down at the 44. Stops the clock at 5:54. Now it's running again as they get the stick set. Intercepted, Edwin Jackson. Jackson stepped out of bounds, I believe. Still on his feet. Down inside the 15-yard line to the 12, or did he step out? I thought an official ruled that he had stepped out, but maybe not. And a man down for South Alabama way downfield on the opposite side at the 30-yard line. Apparently he didn't step out.
I'm trying to see who that is for South Alabama. It's down. I don't know if it's Jeremy Jones, 5. What a great play by Edwin Jackson. Wow. And Matt Dobson just put a D-cleater on him. Looked like a legal hit to me. I know the fans aren't going to be happy about it, but.
Yeah, it looked like he stepped out right way back there.
Yeah, it looked like he did step out, but, man, what a fantastic play.
There he is.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, he stepped out.
Right now the ball is sitting at the 12-yard line. Jeremy Jones is being helped off the field.
And luckily for Jeremy Jones, he's okay. Again, it looked like the hit, while vicious looking, didn't look to be malicious, I guess you could say, where he led with his head or launched his body. And we'll try to get a look at the replay here to see exactly what happened. So there's the interception.
Yeah, that's Dobson.
Yeah, that's a clean hit. That's playing football, in my opinion. I know everyone. It's a total witch hunt anymore, Matt, in terms of anytime somebody sees a guy get a D-cleater, oh, my God, it's got to be a penalty. To me, that looked like a good football play.
Well, they got the ball at the 12. Apparently, they're going to keep it there, although it clearly looked like Edwin Jackson had stepped out of bounds on the return. Wow. So the Eagles run the play from the 12. Breida, a couple of yards on the play. Didn't it look like he stepped out of bounds?
It did. It really
break
like
for
his
Georgia
right foot.
Southern. Keaton in motion. Second down and 8 from the 10. Now under 5 minutes to play. South Alabama been afforded opportunities here in the fourth quarter to try to get back in the ball game, and they just kept turning the ball over. Breida Tries to get to the edge, and he does, and Breida towards the pylon, and Breida out of bounds inside the 1 yard line.
Check out the block downfield by Derek Keaton, the wide receiver. You see it come right into your screen. Good job just harassing the cornerback for South Alabama, Montel Gardner. Again, this run game, we talked about the offensive line, how they've done a great job here today, but any triple option, in order for it to work, you got to have wide receivers downfield blocking. It makes it that much more dangerous.
Breida limping as he goes to the sideline. 20 carries for 178 and 8.9 yards per carry average here tonight, and a couple of touchdowns.
And that's not good.
Ransby fumbled the ball. And the Eagles get on top of it. B.J. Johnson falls on it back at the 5 yard line. Now all of a sudden, South Alabama can't throw the ball downfield without having it picked, and Georgia Southern can't carry it without fumbling it.
Yeah, I don't know if there was something with the exchange there. Couldn't hardly see on the replay, but they give it up. But credit Georgia Southern for being aware and getting on that ball.
So second down and goal from the 6. Things have gotten sloppy in the fourth quarter. Ellison, keeper, touchdown. Kevin Ellison with the touchdown run. It is 27-6. And what a statement win for Georgia Southern here tonight in their opening game ever in the Sun Belt Conference.
How about that first game in the new conference in their first year at the FBS? And I thought they'd really put on a fantastic performance, both offensively and defensively tonight, Matt. I think they showed they were the better team.
Hanks puts it through, and with 3 minutes and 21 seconds to play, an emphatic victory for the Georgia Southern Eagles tonight as they are closing in on win number 1 with a 28-6 lead. 28-6, Georgia Southern 3 minutes and 21 seconds away from winning their first ever Sun Belt Conference game in our Sun Belt Game of the Week. And our Under Armour impact player, Rocky, who is it?
None other than Matt Breida, 21 for 187 yards on the ground. He got started with this run. I'll tell you what, a very impressive run. Got bottled up, then got into the open field. But I've loved watching him tonight. Look, he's good on the perimeter. He breaks tackles. He's also done a good job, as we see here, in between the tackles. A running back that can run between the tackles and get outside. I'll take him on my team all day, Matt. Again, 21 rushes for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns on the night.
Go back a couple of months ago, they had no idea that Matt Breida would be their starting running back, but he really put on a show once fall camp began. A stout 8.9 yards per carry here tonight. His second career 100-yard rushing game after getting his first last week against Georgia Tech, and tonight he goes for a career-high 187 in their Sun Belt Conference opener. Timmons from the end zone, and Timmons takes a couple of shots and drop before getting to the 20-yard line. Darius Jones on that tackle, and South Alabama goes back out there on offense for the final 3:15, and really no chance of winning this ball game, and a very disappointing start here for Georgia Southern. I think I said earlier that they had scored 25 points this season. Well, math, never my strong suit. It's only 32, though, in their first 3 games. You're not going to win many games averaging less than 11 points per game.
No, look, this is the Sun Belt, man. You're supposed to be scoring points. That's what this league is known for. And, you know, I said the word frustrating when I talked about Brandon Bridge early in this game, and that still, to me, seems to be the case. You see the talent. You see the ability, probably one of the more talented guys on this entire football field. But I think you have to be honest and say it was a disappointing night for Brandon Bridge.
Bowman with the catch right there. That's his second catch of the ball game. Bridge 11 for 29, 18 incompletions tonight, 132, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Smith with the catch and Antoine Williams making the catch. And here's a look at our Geico play of the game. We go back to the defensive play by Dawson to get the sack.
Well, yeah, this was on that 4th down play. Just a little bit of life still for South Alabama. And look at Dawson, just tenacious after nonstop effort getting him to the ground.
That's our Geico play of the game, and congratulations. Really, we talked about Breed on offense and Ellison, but you're only telling half the story if you talk only about the offense tonight for the Eagles, because Georgia Southern's defense has come up with big play after big play. Nice night for Matt Dobson, too, the free safety.
And I'll tell you what, Matt, with Georgia Southern winning tonight, their schedule looks pretty favorable. They'll go to Appalachian State, then New Mexico, then Idaho, then Georgia State, then Troy. All those teams, I would have to say, are not the upper echelon of the Sun Belt.
Hosting App State. Hosting App State on Thursday night.
Okay,
That'll be the ESPNU game, the battle of former SoCon rivals now in the Sun Belt.
But either way, there's no Arkansas State, there's no Louisiana Lafayette on their schedule, so a very favorable schedule if they want to take this conference.
There's a look at that schedule that you're talking about. App State coming up on Thursday night, and that is why Georgia Southern flew here to Mobile rather than bust, because they going to fly right back out of here tonight so they can get back to Statesboro. Got a very short week of preparation for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, quick turnaround. Those are always tough. You got to lick your wounds and be excited you won, but then get back down to business.
Jeremy Jones with a first down catch. Darius Jones making the tackle. South Alabama at Idaho next Saturday night on ESPN3, and then they'll be at App State.
And a fairly favorable 4 games coming up for South Alabama. I think they'll have the opportunity to work on some things, correct a few things, and get back in this Sun Belt Conference race.
And what's interesting about their schedule is it's 8 consecutive Sun Belt games. They play 2 non-con, and then they've got their 8 consecutive Sun Belt games, and then they wrap up their season with 2 non-cons at South Carolina and then Navy, their finale here. Down to our final 142.
I'm just looking at that Georgia Southern Navy game on November 15th. That game may take 2 hours and 15 minutes with all the running they're going to be doing in that one.
But there might be 800 yards of rushing in that game. That should be a fun one. Impressive Sun Belt opener for the most prolific FCS team in the history of college football, moving up to the FBS level full-time this year. They will be eligible for the Sun Belt Championship, although Georgia Southern can't go to a bowl game just yet. Their bowl game will be winning the Sun Belt Championship, and they're off to a good start.
Very good start.
1-0 coming in here and beating a team picked to finish 3rd in the conference. Bridge being chased, and he'll step out of bounds at the 45. Impressive night for the Eagles.
And Matt, you and I and Danielle will be back next week for Louisiana Monroe and Troy, another Sun Belt game of the week. Look forward to that.
Yeah, Troy's got to put some things together after taking a whooping at Georgia today.
And we're going to have to talk to our sideline reporter on that. She is a Troy alumni, and she has some questions to answer about Troy.
4th down and 9, ball at the 44. Could be the final meaningful play of the night right here. Bridge being chased, and another quarterback sack for the Georgia Southern Eagles. It's Ryan George, the redshirt freshman out of Stevenson High School in Atlanta. George with the quarterback sack, number 4 on the night for the Eagles.
What a great play, getting off the block. Again, Brandon Bridge is a fast guy, and you see Ryan George. I'll tell you what, just again, when you just look at these guys sometimes out on the field, we saw them before game, you don't see just monsters out there. But, man, these guys can play. This defense has really been fun to watch tonight. Ryan George talked about with Jay Ellison, the big man Darius Sapp up front, the linebackers Jackson. And I'll tell you what, we talked a little bit about him as the game went on. Matt Dobson and Glover, both as safeties, done an excellent job, especially in run support tonight.
What they lack in size, they make up for in South Georgia fast.
That's right. That's what they say, strength punishes, but speed kills. These guys can motor.
Ian Day's on the carry right there as Willie Fritz getting in some of his reserves here in the final minute of the ball game. How about that? Willie Fritz going to be 2-2. This team could easily be 4-0.
I know.
They had last-minute losses at NC State and Georgia Tech. Eagles could be 4-0. Instead, they'll exit Mobile 2-2 and 1-0 in the Sun Belt. like what we've seen from him, from the Eagles here tonight. No doubt about it. Been a fun team to watch, and they have really put a beating here on this South Alabama team, and they continue to administer it here on the final plays of this ball game.
You know, and Will Fritz talked about it this week, Matt. This is a program where his players, they hold each other accountable, and you can see the discipline they have. They execute very well, but also, again, you don't see the penalties and the just missed assignment type things. I mean, these guys, you know, obviously it's important for the coaches to be on top of guys, but when players are hold each other accountable, that's when teams really win.
That will do it. Touchdowns for the Georgia Southern Eagles in each quarter. And they chalk up a 28-6 victory over South Alabama in their first ever Sun Belt Conference game. Another one in the history books for the Georgia Southern Eagles. A history book that is chock full of records and milestones. Tonight will go down as another. The night that they won their first ever Sun Belt Conference game.
Well, it's their first ever, but the way this program's going, the way this team's looking, Matt, they're going to win a lot more games going on down the line. You always got to get the first one, but I think Georgia Southern can get on this plane tonight looking at each other saying, hey, we got a pretty good team.
Let's check in with Danielle down on the field.
Well, thanks, guys. Coach, first off, congratulations. A big victory. Saw the high fives going on among the coaching team as the end of the game came. Congratulations on the first Sun Belt Conference victory. How big is this for your guys?
It's a huge win. First Sun Belt game in school history. This is a very good ball club. Coach Jones does a super job, and you know, we're just happy to get out of here with a W. Big win for our football program.
Now, we got to see a copy of the Plan to Win that's posted around your football facilities. First thing is protecting the football.
We didn't do anything out of the game. We could have made it a lot simpler on ourselves, but we'll address that and do a better job of it.
Well, the last thing on that list is finishing in the fourth quarter. You guys were able to do that and get away with the win.
We really did a great job of finishing. You know, the defense had to rise to the occasion a bunch of times because of the turnovers offensively, and very proud of the effort defensively. And you know, we've had a couple tough games where we didn't quite get it finished at the end, but those guys did a fabulous job this evening.
Well, Coach, congratulations, 1-0 in the Sun Belt Conference. We'll toss it back up to you guys.
Thank you, Danielle. What an impressive win for the Georgia Southern Eagles. Willie Fritz hammering the point home. This is a big night for the Georgia Southern Eagles, Rocky. A 28-6 win over South Alabama, one of the favored teams in this conference. They come into their building and they walk out with an impressive victory.
You know, we talked about Georgia Southern, a franchise or an organization with such a history behind them. But you know, kind of put them on the map last week was the win in the Swamp. But now they're playing with the big boys, and now they're going to get even more national notoriety as a team that's, look, here in their first year, and they're winning games against very good teams like South Alabama.
Eagles win by 3 touchdowns. They make a statement that they are a team to beat in the Sun Belt Conference. And now for Rocky Boyman, Danielle Percival, and our entire ESPN3 team, I'm Matt Stewart. So long from Mobile, Alabama, where Georgia Southern wins it 28-6. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.